A day of rest for the Celtics, who are now in an 0-2 hole to the Knicks in their best-of-7 second-round playoff series. Game 3 is tomorrow afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Last night, Minnesota evened up their second-round series with Golden State at a game apiece. Carroll 117-93 win at Target Center. Julius Randle, 24 points and 11 assists for the winners there. Red Sox now have back-to-back wins after a 5-0 victory over Texas at Fenway Park yesterday. Brian Bayo and 3 relievers combined on a 5-hit shutout. Sox are now back over 500. They'll play in Kansas City tonight. Rafael Devers homered and drove in a pair of runs yesterday, and then after the game told the media that Craig Breslow had indeed asked him about playing first base, and he told him he wouldn't do it after switching from third base to become a full-time DH this season. The NHL yesterday named former Bruins captain Zdeno Chara to its quarter-century team. That highlights the best players in the league from the first 25 years of the 2000s. And the Hockey World Championships begin later today in both Sweden and Denmark. David Pastrnak is playing for the defending champion Czech Republic. Bruins goaltender Jeremy Swayman is suiting up for Team USA, and all 6 current Bruins are participating in the event. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that. Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go. Hey. Hi, good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. We're live, and then everything else is archived there. And Joe's live at night. You got highlights of Felger and Maz and Zolak and Bertrand, plus Alex Barth and Ty Anderson and all those guys. So it's all up there. It's raining today, correct?
Yes, you're supposed to later for a long time.
Percentages go up pretty much steadily up until 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Odds are not good.
That might not be the worst thing in the world.
What town?
It would just be Groton again today.
All right, hey, Fred, we're either going to do it or we're going to do it right. So let's do it right. Okay? Groton. What time is the game?
The game today would be at 5.
70% chance of rain at 5 o'clock.
Okay. So there's a chance. Okay. Because tomorrow is a town in, Braintree. That's not far. All right,
For the first time, you have a shorter drive to an event than I do. I have to go to Taunton.
What time is the
Saturday.
Thayer's nothing.
Just out of curiosity, what time is the game in Braintree on Saturday?
The game, this might not happen either, but the game is supposed to be at 1 o'clock.
You are going to be unpleasantly surprised at the amount of traffic you get on 128 South and getting past the split and trying to get to Braintree on a Saturday.
Really?
Dude, Saturday traffic, especially on the perimeter there.
Yeah.
You know, anywhere, and it's almost always going south, but then it gets both directions at some point during the day. It sucks.
On Saturday?
We've talked about this before. We used to talk about it in Zone Bertrand when like delivery drivers would call in. They're like, oh, yeah, don't sleep on Saturday. Sneaky, awful traffic day because everybody's out. Everybody's going somewhere and doing something on Saturday.
I'm not overly concerned with getting to Braintree. Even if it takes, so it's 20. So how many miles is it for me? This is the world I live in now. I've almost completely.
From your home in Newton, you're.
It's 25 miles.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say 22, but
So say it takes 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah, and
I can deal with. I mean, yesterday, an hour and 20 minutes to get to Groton. Nothing was moving. Just nothing was moving. Yeah. And then it directed me off of Route 2 right when I got on Route 2. And it bypassed 495 altogether and took me through. I saw Ralph Waldo Emerson's house. I'm getting to the point where I'm ooh, looking around. And I'm not even I'm like
what road were you on?
Well, first of all, I was with both my kids and it was actually kind of a funny, we were making fun of each other and stuff, so it was kind of fun. I actually appreciated it. And everyone did. We all mentioned when we got there, we're like, that wasn't so bad for something that took an hour and a half to get to. I went by Ralph Waldo Emerson's house. I mean, it's very quaint. I take it I was very near Walden Pond.
I actually went by Walden Pond last night.
Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Yes.
Lived in a house within walking distance of Walden Pond.
You're thinking not of Ralph Waldo Emerson, but of Henry David Thoreau.
Oh, so, thank you. Now, that's why I'm so stupid. Right. Okay, Ralph Waldo Emerson, but lived by Walden Pond. Were they contemporaries?
They were, yes. Yes. They both
so why
were in
was
that area.
one guy that lived within walking... Okay, so my point is not the point. It's the same point, but I just sound dumb doing it. But... So one guy lived within walking distance of the other guy, but the other guy, if they were truly contemporaries, one guy was in a solitude and a meditative state at a place around where other people lived.
Well, that's what you should be making fun of, is he kind of wasn't, because he was literally a mile walk from quote unquote civilization and his mother's house. So yes,
okay,
he was.
All right,
Henry David Thoreau had sequestered himself and wanted to live by the shores of Walden Pond and dive deep. But at any point in time, if he got uncomfortable, he could have just hoofed it home.
Yeah.
So make fun of that, because you should, because it's stupid.
Because if you've ever been in any kind of therapeutic environment, they or any kind of meditation thing. They talk about Walden Pond, and I'm not overly impressed by his achievements now.
Yes,
so considering he just walked into Concord at any time, and Concord was a town,
right? Oh, it was. Yeah, absolutely, it was a town. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, I'm not overly impressed by it anymore. But anyway, so I'm driving around. I see and there's library people walking into it.
People.
Yeah, Adam's people are walking into it. Real pieces of garbage.
Can never go faster than 25 miles an hour.
If it's something my parents would do and bother me about for 5 days beforehand. Yeah. They'd come into town and they go. But the good news is with my parents is that I've talked to you about my basement bathroom, right?
Yeah.
It's all the system that's needed to pump the water up into the sewage system is a real situation. It's something that is of the 1800s, and it's new. It's the thing that's required, but it's a tangible, motorized thing that you can look at and screw around with. It's like a real motor. So I've been told basically hey, if you can avoid flushing stuff, and I'm not positive I'm sure you could shower down there, but I don't know about flushing stuff, flushing toilet paper and stuff, a lot of toilet paper. So my parents are coming for Zoe's middle school graduation, and then we're all turning around and going to Nashville for a tournament. All of us.
Nice.
And my parents, I'm really sorry. And maybe you could stay in Zoe's room or something, but you can't use the bathroom a lot, down in the basement. It's just because there's a guest room down there. And for anyone else, it wouldn't really matter. But for them, they're old. And, going up the stairs and my dad has to go to the bathroom every 5 seconds, and plus he takes horrendous dumps. I would imagine there's a lot of toilet paper. And, just judging by the condition of his underwear when I was a child.
That changes, though, with age.
Well,
they may not be so voluminous anymore.
Well, no, it was not. It was about the. I think the inability to control them was more of an issue. But then again, the man was drinking and smoking a lot at the time, so now he does neither. So maybe they have tightened up a little bit. But when I was a kid, it was gross. His bed was gross. There was poo everywhere, poo in his underwear, poo in the bed. I was afraid to go into his bed when I was a kid.
Do you think any of this informs your obsession with poo now as an adult?
Oh, good question.
No, I'm not the one obsessed with poo. I'm not obsessed with poo. I
think you're obsessed.
I like the idea of someone being obsessed with poo. No, I find it gross. I don't like it at all. As a matter of fact, I won't go to the bathroom here. I get offended when people are going to the bathroom here. I'm not obsessed with poo. I was on a show that was obsessed with poo. It wasn't necessarily like
Why are you such a Chuck Berry fan then? I mean, you tell me one thing, but then
I've never seen that video.
You're listening to Johnny B. Good and tapping your toes.
I'm a fan of Larry Flint, and that's the only reason I know about that video.
Time for my breakfast.
Yeah, I've heard about it, but have you seen it?
No, I don't know if anybody's seen it.
No, it's just that, if you don't know the story, Larry Flint, when he had Hustler, was in the business of finding, this is before the internet, he was in the business of finding, like, he had Jackie Onassis naked pictures, he had Marilyn, oh no, that was Hugh Hefner and Marilyn Monroe. He had a bunch of, like, crazy stuff. And he had a video of Chuck Berry doing very, very vile things. And that's something that has lived in the zeitgeist for many, many years. I'm not positive of who's seen it. But if you've ever seen It's Only Rock and Roll, where Keith Richards puts together a Chuck Berry concert, you've seen Chuck Berry was completely out of control. Completely out of control. In a very, very bad way. Because you have Keith Richards, who's the voice of reason and the organizer, while in active heroin addiction. And he's like the normal one. By far. Chuck Berry's just out of control. Was he shooting coke at that time? Because it had to have been a phenomenal amount of cocaine, but I would imagine that's before crack. That's a freebasing situation. If it wasn't free, but he was so crazy, it might have been shooting heroin, or shooting coke, which is the grossest of all, by far the grossest of all addictions. Because heroin. You shoot heroin and then you nod off,
and then you leave people alone,
and then you nod off though, and then you go and then you shoot again like hours later. A real someone who's shooting coke is injecting cocaine into themselves 20 times every 20 minutes, and they're not going to sleep. So, I mean, you're really like going at it, like it's really bad. Ooh. Really, really bad. Like, it's super gross. Like, it's really like a gross. Not like heroin addiction's like super great.
No, but
it's in terms of like just gross. Like how many times you're stabbing yourself and how much danger you're putting yourself in terms of just infecting yourself. Ugh. I can't think of a grosser habit. But he had to have been in that kind of situation. Because he was completely out of control.
Well, he had didn't he get in trouble for setting up the cameras in a restaurant, in the bathroom of a restaurant that he owned?
I didn't hear that. In St. Louis?
Yeah.
Where he's from? St. Louis's own Chuck Berry. You could get away with a lot back then. Wasn't until like the late 80s, early 90s where it started catching up to these guys like James Brown and stuff. Like they started like, and Cosby, it took until the 2000s, 2010s,
Okay. In 1990, Chuck Berry was sued by several women who claimed that he had installed a video camera in the bathroom of his restaurant. Berry claimed that he had the camera installed to catch a coworker who was suspected of stealing from the restaurant.
Doesn't matter why you did it.
Although his guilt was never proven in court, Berry opted for a class action settlement. One of his biographers, Bruce Pegg, estimated that it cost Berry over $1.2 million plus legal fees. His lawyer said he had been the victim of a conspiracy to profit from his wealth.
The man invented rock and roll. Him and Little Richard. Give him a break. I like how he put it in there to catch someone stealing, so that's okay. That's all right, then.
Yeah.
I thought that they might be saying bad things about me, so I installed a camera all over their bathrooms and their bedrooms.
Have you seen the documentary? I think it's called Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll.
That's the one I think I'm talking about, is Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. That's the one where Chuck Berry puts on the performance and Keith Richards is the one behind it.
Yes.
Okay, that's the one I'm talking about.
Same one.
Yeah, not It's Only Rock and Roll. Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. Yeah,
Okay.
he's awful.
Yeah. And like you said, Keith Richard is no picnic, and he comes off as the same one ready to work and able to.
Well, that's the whole
pull
gist
band
of the
together.
movie.
Yeah.
Is that okay? So if you don't know the movie, Keith Richards, this is in the '80s, so Keith Richards is probably like 40, and he's looking to put together. He loves Chuck Berry, he worships Chuck Berry. So, and Keith Richards, big star. So Keith Richards forms this all-star band, and I think they go to St. Louis, and they go, Chuck, we want to put on this show. It's in St. Louis, I believe. Am I right or am I wrong? I could be wrong. It doesn't really matter, I guess, I suppose.
Matter.
So he goes, and in the whole documentary is the process of putting this show together and getting him to rehearse. And, Keith Richards didn't go in there with the, I want to look great. Like, what does he care? But it's him trying to corral Chuck Berry to do anything, and having Chuck Berry's obstinate and not showing up and yelling at him. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And Keith Richards, he says in the movie, he's like, look, I love Chuck Berry, but he sucked live. His band was always bad. He wouldn't rehearse. He wouldn't even play in tune. And Chuck Berry was kind of famous for that. He would show up, open up his guitar, and not go on stage until he's like, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? Give me my money, and then I'll go out there. And he would just have backing bands all over the country. And years and years and years ago, I met a guy who had played in one of these backing bands.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all excited because they thought they were going to get to rehearse and hang with Chuck Berry. It's like the guy did not show up until 2 minutes after the show started and walked out on stage, turned around and said, Johnny be good and see. And they're like, oh, I guess we're doing this. Boom, 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 boom. And he would change keys on him and all that stuff and just, that's who he was. It's like, I'm not showing up to practice. So what if I never met you guys?
Yeah, it was in St. Louis. Sorry, I interrupted you. But the band is Keith Richards, Eric Clapton, Robert Cray, Steve Jordan. I mean, Etta James, Linda Ronstadt, and Julian Lennon.
Yeah, whom he calls John by mistake in the middle of the concert. Give it up for Julian Lennon. Don't he look like his daddy? And Julian's like, yeah, I get that a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I was the one who was ignored.
Shed that moniker.
Yeah, the one he liked is much younger. The one he liked is in elementary school, like Fred, because they're the same age. The one that trotted around and was at everything and had the mom that wasn't abused. That's the other one.
Right.
I'm the other guy. You know what? I might watch that today. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. Not the concert part, but leading up to it. Or is it concert and documentary interspersed? I don't like when they do that. Is it a live show and then there's clips of putting it together in between the songs?
Yeah, I think that's the best way.
Yeah, because I don't want to see the concert. I have no desire to see that.
But there's some fun stuff in the concert. There's at one point they're in the middle of a song, and Keith Richards is telling the story. It's like, well, what happened at that moment on stage? He goes, oh, we had rehearsed, and Chuck in the middle of the song leans over to me and says, let's do a key change. Let's drop down to A. And you see Keith Richard on stage shake his head and go, no, we're not doing that. He wanted to, he was out to sabotage himself all the time and just to mess things up. He's like, but that was Chuck. It's like he just couldn't let it be, just wouldn't leave it alone. That old piano player, oh man, he wants nothing to do with any of those guys. Do you remember that guy? Really heavy set flat guy who's playing piano for him. And again, one of these legends of rock and roll, a boogie woogie rock and roll piano player. And you can tell he's been through this with Chuck before, and he's just sitting there waiting for him to finish being crazy.
When they were rehearsing Carol, a song Keith made more famous than Chuck, he took it out on Keith about the intro. Yes, it was embarrassing and humiliating to Keith, yet he ate humble pie on camera to get through it.
Right.
It says it's so like I saw it when I was a little kid, like
because it was supposed to go. Keith was playing bow wow wow, and Chuck's like, no, it goes bow wow wow, and he screwed it up like 3 times in a row, and you could see Keith Richards. All he wants to do is shoot heroin and go night-night. He's like, oh, why did I say I would do this?
Yeah, it's good. All right, we'll be back. We'll catch you up with everything that happened yesterday and last night. Lots and lots of things. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hub. And let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Yeah, there will be no game today. Do the Red Sox, I take it, are at home today?
No,
Oh, they're on the road.
they're on the road. They're in Kansas City tonight.
Oh, big homestand. Jesus.
6 games here, 6 games there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not on top of it but more. I know they played at home yesterday, but and I know about the Devers thing that we'll get to. But I just kept hearing homestand, and so I assumed that there was a homestand.
It's weird. They just finished 6 games here, 6 games through Kansas City and Detroit, and then I think they're back again.
Maybe it's just me, and it's probably just me. But when I think homestand, I think maybe 6 games is a homestand. 2 series, I guess.
Long
10,
homestand.
10 would be good.
Yeah, a homestand. Yeah, you think that it's like you get a couple weekends out of it.
Yeah, you get a 10-gamer coming up after this.
That to me is a real homestand.
Yeah,
but that's just my own brain. I'm no. Believe me, what do I know about anything? All right, go ahead. What do you got, Hardy?
Kids in Chicago. Kids in Chicago did a mock papal conclave. Oh, that's fun. That's like the fake UN that you used to do.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That you used to do. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. There was a comic book shop around where I lived that did a fake papal conclave. Huh. I'm making it up, but could I be right? Could I be right?
Well, we didn't question it.
It's a papal conclave, but in drag. All right, go ahead.
Red Sox last night. Devers, who has been in the conversation a lot lately for his either unwillingness or never being asked to play a different position, he decided to just show off on the one side of the game that he wants to be playing.
And a line drive to center field for a base hit. That'll chase in the run. Rafaela scores. Rafi with the RBI. It is 3-0.
All right, so they go up 3-0 with that. Devers a little bit later.
Red Sox up 4-0. They'll tag that one to left field. That one's headed back toward the wall.
Sailing takes me away to Road G, where I'm a dinger.
Can we pull the karaoke
Christopher
version?
Crossing home.
Crossing home plate.
Because the subject is so random that it makes it so funny. I mean, those are truly brilliant. They really are. Like, those guys are super
They really
funny.
are. And it grew. It became such a thing. I think they did like a yacht rock on a yacht, and they booked a bunch of these.
Oh, no,
guys,
they
and
do
did
that.
They did like a boat cruise.
They did. And, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's part of culture now.
Yeah.
So
Zeitgeist.
The term yacht rock came up. 3 writers came up with something as part of an online video series, and they came up with the name Yacht Rock. And apparently there was this series that fictionalized the lives of musicians associated with that type of music.
That's what we're saying.
2005.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yes.
Is that those are so they did coin the term yacht rock. Wow, that's something.
J.D. Risner, Hunter Slayer, and Lane Farnham.
I don't know, whatever. I'd hire him. I'd hire him if I was a movie company. I'd hire him yesterday. I would have. They'd be making movies. They'd have 50 movies under their belts right now. Maybe they'd make comedies again if these guys were doing it. By the way, that new Tim Robinson movie,
Does it come out this weekend?
No.
Limited release this week. I think it was like L.A., New York, or something.
Because the reviews are starting to come in, which means it probably is.
How are the reviews?
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be really weird.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that.
Rafaela with some nice defense in the 9th last night.
And a fly ball right center, pretty well hit. Rafaela racing back to the triangle. And up against the wall, they made the play. Oh, he paid for it. He took a shot, but to the deepest part of Fenway, out into the Bermuda Triangle.
He paid to take a shot to the nuts.
No. He ran into the wall. He just ran into the wall.
Yeah,
that's all.
That wasn't the thing.
So Red Sox finish off the set there against Texas with a 5-0 win, and that was the matinee yesterday. Where are they tonight, John?
Kansas City. Kansas City.
All right. We're going to get to a lot more of this later, but Rafael Devers was asked about, maybe playing first base. Casas done. We need a first baseman. There's so much of this to get to. We'll get to more of it later, but here's just a little sampling of what Devers had to say through his translator. You'll hear the translator speaking.
Yeah, it was the GM that I spoke with. I'm not certain what he has with me. He played ball, and I would like to think that he knows that changing positions like that isn't easy.
What changed over the last week? Because everyone's asking Red Sox management, have you spoken to Devers? Are you going to talk to Devers? And everyone emphatically, including Alex Cora, said no. And that didn't make any sense. But apparently within the last week, they did approach him about it, which is good for the team because that's exactly what you should have done.
And he can't even wrap his head around why they would even ask.
Yeah, no, they had the conversation with me. I don't think me personally it's the best decision after they asked me to play a different position, and I don't even have 2 months playing this position to all of a sudden have me try to play another position. From my end, it doesn't seem like a good decision.
Yeah, getting paid $300 million to not field. We'd actually like you to have a full-time job.
If you want to get into it here, okay, so you're the biggest star on the team. You show up to camp, and they go, guess what? We signed a free agent that's playing your position. Now you got to go to a DH. And you don't want to do it, and the media and everyone gives you a bunch of S for it, and then you go, fine, I'll do it. And you struggle at the beginning of the year, and everyone says that you're the horrible human being. And then you kind of turn it around, and you're having an okay year, not great, but okay. And then they go, oh, by the way, we're 4 weeks into the season. Go switch positions again. How about go screw? No, it's ridiculous. You're putting this guy. They're moving him around like he's Jose Akendo.
Circumstances have changed, Fred.
Yeah, but John, you can't just ask a guy, oh, by the way, we expect you to hit 280 with 30 home runs, and we're going to move you around a bunch of times during the season. You can't, do you want me to play first base? No, I don't want to play first base. You didn't give me spring training to learn first base.
No one says he has to go play first base tomorrow, but
John, that's the conversation. It's not next year.
No, I understand that, but I think there'd be a ramping up process. He's going to take some grounders there, see if he can do it or can't do it. My point is, this team is expected to win this year. This team is expected to go to the playoffs bare minimum, and
then you should have Then you should have signed the first baseman instead of a third baseman.
But here's where we are. We've said this before. This first base is a gigantic hole in this organization. It was Casas and nobody else. This team isn't going to go anywhere with Abraham Toro and Romy Gonzalez and a platoon at first base.
Okay, all right. So you take he's a good defensive third baseman, but you're just going to have to play along. You take Arenado. Now you take Arenado and you go, okay, we're going to put Nolan Arenado, who's probably a Hall of Fame third baseman, but let's just say they're offensively similar in their primes. Arenado's better, but just for the sake of argument, and forget his defensive acumen at third, okay? He's a third baseman that came off the top of my head that's good. So do you think if you went to Arenado 10 years ago, because now we do it, but if you went to Arenado, because he's old and he sucked last year, but if you went to Arenado during his prime and you came in and you said, look, the NL just made a DH, we want you to DH. Do you think he'd have a problem with that?
Yes.
Okay. So he goes and does it. This is another team, not the Red Sox. And he goes and does it. And then 5 weeks later, they go, oh, by the way, now go play first. Do you think he'd have a problem with it?
Probably.
Yeah.
But the defensive acumen factors into this argument.
Okay, but
Devers is not a good fielding third baseman. They specifically shot Bregman to get better at that position.
Then find a good offensive third baseman off the top of your head that's not good at defense. I'm just trying to give you an example. I don't
think it matches up completely. I think.
All right, then find a good offensive third baseman that's not a good defensive player in the history of baseball. Just give me someone. Just anyone off the top of your head.
Mike Schmidt.
Okay,
There you go.
Mike Schmidt. He wasn't a good third baseman? Okay, fair enough. If in your mind he wasn't, then I believe you. I don't know if he was a good third baseman or not. So they go to Mike Schmidt, and they go, hey, NL's got the DH. Go be the DH. And he goes, I don't want to. Do you think he would say, I don't want to?
Probably.
Okay. Do you think it would be a big uproar in Philadelphia? Whose side do you think? Let's do this. Whose side do you think the fans would have taken?
Depends on how good the team is.
Oh, they would have taken Mike Schmidt's side in that. And then say, even if they did it, if Mike Schmidt says, I don't want to be DH, but then he begrudgingly becomes DH, then 5 weeks later you go, hey, Mike Schmidt, go learn first base and play first base. You think he'd be cool with that?
Probably not.
Okay.
But it's
so all I'm saying is that anybody wouldn't be. He's not a utility player. He's a guy that you've already, in his mind, humiliated. And now you're asking him, because a far inferior player got hurt, for him to go turn around and learn first base. You're paying him to hit. You've made that very obvious. You didn't value him at third base, and that's probably correct. But now you sign a third baseman in free agency. You move him. He has to now adjust to being a DH. And then a jabroni you got playing first gets hurt, which really is a jabroni.
He is. I'm not arguing that.
And now it really doesn't matter to the argument anyway. But now you're asking him to move again. All I'm saying is that I can't think of a star in baseball, and not because they're even egotistical and not team first, that would be like, dude, no, stop moving me around. I can't, you can't ask me to keep doing this. You're asking me to hit. And now I got to do all this other crap on top of hitting during the season?
I understand that argument, but what I'm saying is this move, putting him at first, is what is best for a team where expectations are high.
He could argue that it's not best for the team because you want me to be your best hitter, and I can't do that if I'm learning a new position. He could make that argument. That's all I'm saying. So all I'm saying is I get where Devers is coming from. And in a perfect world, everyone on every team would go, whatever you need, coach, I'm there. But I'm not positive Cora wants him playing first. Cora might look at this lineup and go, I don't want him learning first. I need Devers hitting. We can't win unless he's hitting. And maybe Cora feels it because there's some reason Cora didn't tell him. Because Cora probably went, I'm not doing it again. Baseball's a weird thing, man. You can't screw with it. It's very perilous mentally.
We're going to do this more later, but some of the things that you said about, why don't they sign somebody? Devers asked the same thing through his translator. He also, talked about this whole hard-headedness that he's been accused of. And also, that's fine. But, you tell me to put my glove away in spring training. And then now not only does the glove back on, but you got me changing positions, and we're not even in the middle of May.
Another thing moving Devers to first base does for you is it doesn't shoehorn you into needing to go get a first base.
I understand why the team wants him to play first base, but you have to understand why Cora and Devers might not be totally on board with it. That's all I'm saying, because everyone is going to have your opinion, and I understand that. I just see his point. And I might be the only person that does on this station.
No, I do.
But you're not on the air.
I know.
Adam.
I'm very passionate about it as well.
Well, Adam, you're not on the air.
Yeah.
I am now, technically.
Well, technically, yes. I'm talking
See
about
if you can insert a 30-second editorial into Bloomberg Radio, and that way,
or on the HD channel. On
Bloomberg Sports Blast with Adam 12.
Get your point across.
Adam is so passionate. You needed to say that there's not. But maybe someone will. But look, I get it, and nothing you're saying is wrong from a team perspective. It obviously makes sense. But if I'm Devers, I'm not happy with the team at all. I really wouldn't be. It's like rah great, but they're not doing it to Meyer. They're not going to go, hey, Meyer, or to Anthony. They're not doing it to two kids. Mm-hmm. They're not going, go learn first base. So Devers is probably like, dude, you got these two kids that are playing in Worcester where the games don't mean anything. Have them learn first base. Why do I got to move to first base? These guys haven't taken a major league at bat. I mean, if you think about it that way, he's got to be out of his mind. Like, you got these two kids that you can't wait to bring up, but you're not bringing them up because you don't want to move their positions. I mean, Anthony, I know, is a little more flexible, but you don't want them. You certainly don't want to waste Meyer at first.
Correct.
And I get that, but you got to understand his perspective on things, because I just know everyone's going to crap all over him. And I know if I was listening from that organization, I would be like a little frustrated that, or if I was Devers and I was listening to it, I'd be a little frustrated. I'd be like, dude, you got to think of my position a little bit, but whatever. We'll get into. I'll give you plenty of time later. You can share your opinion. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are your headlines, unless Adam would like to interject. But these are technically John's, but we'll see. Here we go.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics were off last night. They remain idle until tomorrow when they visit the New York Knicks for Game 3 of their best-of-7 second-round playoff series. Celtics down 2-0. Red Sox scored a 5-0 home win over Texas at Fenway Park. They take 2 out of 3 from the Rangers to go back over 500. Rafael Devers homered and drove in a pair of runs to lead the offense, but he made bigger news after the game was over. He told the media Craig Breslow had approached him about playing first base now that Tristan Casas is out for the season, and he refused, saying he didn't think it was appropriate to ask him to change his position again after becoming a full-time DH. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy brought this up. John and I were debating third baseman, and RC says, "You idiots! Mike Schmidt won 10 Gold Gloves." How are Hardy and I idiots?
Don't call me an idiot. I didn't even know Mike Schmidt played third base.
Well, Hardy,
you can't call me out on that.
Hardy wasn't participating in the conversation, and I said I left it to John to name someone that was a good hitter at third and a bad defensive player, and he said Mike Schmidt, and I didn't claim to know I didn't remember if Mike Schmidt was good defensively or not.
Yeah, so maybe RC just bring that over here. I'm the idiot.
Yeah, I think that's fair. John's the idiot.
I did not know Mike Schmidt had won 10 Gold Gloves.
No, then don't place yourself as an expert.
See,
you didn't like the Arenado comparison.
Conversations like that, I adhere to the better to keep your mouth closed.
Yeah,
and then to open it and remove all doubt.
He dismissed the Arenado thing, even though I conceded Arenado was a great defensive third baseman for a time. He's not really anymore, but for a time, he dismissed that. So I asked him to come up with anyone that would satisfy his argument.
I should have said Boggs, but Boggs, I think, won a Gold Glove at one point, too. So Boggs was – the complaint when Boggs was younger and he was here was his defense wasn't very good. So,
all right, let's go to the NBA playoffs, where last night the Golden State Warriors were trying to get another one on the road, but this time without Steph Curry for the entire game. As he left game one, he's going to miss at least a week, it looks like. He'll be reevaluated next week. Minnesota said, no, you're not going to do that again.
Here's Ant with it against Kuminga. Likes the matchup. Drives in. Double clutches up off glass. He got this one to drop.
Yes, he did, and Minnesota would go on to win the game. They did have a player missing toward the end, kind of, because Draymond Green was on the bench.
All right, did you see this, Fred? You see what
saw
happened
the
with
flagrant
Draymond?
that they called on him, yes.
Okay, so most people, when they get fouled, they're holding the ball out on the wing. Most people, when they get fouled, will throw their arms up like in a shooting motion. Draymond brings his left arm over like a boom crossing a sailing ship and whacks the guy behind the ear. He follows through like no other player I've ever seen. And they call, rightfully so, it was contact that wasn't necessary and hostile, and it was a flagrant or technical. Anyway.
According to the announcers, it was borderline, but go ahead.
All right, it was a technical foul. Draymond goes off.
Yeah.
He goes so crazy. Steph Curry, who isn't even playing in the game, gets up off the bench and has to lead him away. And Draymond, of course, I can't believe it. He's in the official's face saying, this is all BS. It's a double-edged sword with Draymond. He draws extra attention to himself, but then the refs give him a lot of leeway to complain afterwards that other players don't get.
But there has to be. Curry didn't care. I mean, I was watching it when it happened. I want to get to something else because when I turned it off, I thought Anthony Edwards was hurt, but I guess he wasn't.
Yeah, that was a scary-looking ankle sprain.
Yeah,
too.
I thought that maybe he was hurt.
Yeah.
And then I thought, ooh, that evens things up. But I did see the Draymond Green thing. Look, obviously, I love Draymond. He's my favorite player. But if Kerr doesn't care and no one else really seems to care, there has to be a reason that this is all. I don't think Draymond's a psycho. I think that there has to be some kind of mythology to what he's doing. I think so. Well, first of all, I know why he's throwing elbows around and stuff, because that's why they have him. Is because they want someone to be afraid.
Yeah, Golden State loves what he does. And by the way, I would love him if he was a Celtic. They'd retire his number. Fans here would love him. But
he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Watching him play for another team and constantly do this stuff is frustrating to watch. But I don't like it at all.
Okay, so let's hear Draymond in the postgame who addresses some of this, Fred.
I look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
Okay,
that's right. Did you see me? I'm a white guy that didn't think that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that.
Unlike these two,
I don't know that. I've never heard race enter the conversation with Draymond Green. I just think he can't control his temper.
I think
he
that
gets
there's
upset, and then he gets now he's at the point where they have to put him on the bench because if he picks up 2 more flagrants or 2 more techs, he's got to
be suspended again.
2 more techs or 2 more flagrant points. If
I think there has to be a reason why he's doing it because Kerr loves him. And during that whole thing, I saw it live. During that whole thing, you saw it too, John. Kerr didn't. His facial expression didn't change. And they were like high-fiving him and stuff when he got to the bench, like the coaches were. So there has to be some kind of thing. Either it's working the officials or getting the attention off the stars or something like that Draymond's doing.
Sure.
I know why he hit the guy. He thought he could get away with it. Like he thought he's towing a line. That we all agree. Like he's doing that on purpose. He didn't think it was a flagrant, I bet, because he thought he was probably pissed because he thought he hit it better than he did. But it was, it didn't have to be called a flagrant. It wasn't one of those things where we're like, oh, Jesus.
Maybe not, but with him.
No, I get it. But there has to be, I don't think that I think that there's got to be a reason why he behaves that way. That's not he's a psycho. Because I know he's not a psycho. He's just not. Like, and he wouldn't be, he's not good enough, like a scorer or a rebounder or anything else to be this old and to get this many minutes on this good a team if he wasn't doing something right.
Look, Draymond, there's some version of Draymond on every good team. Draymond's a far more extreme case, but every team needs a guy like that in some way, shape, or form. If you're Draymond Green, you don't get to act out. You don't get to scream at refs and not be penalized for screaming at refs without some kind of blowback.
But he wasn't.
Target up what I'm leading up to is you don't get to be pissed after the game for doing these things. You don't get to you have a target on your back when you're walking in the arena. You know you're hated by all the opposing fans.
Maybe that's
and
the
you know
point.
If you do that, you're going to get a technical
but maybe
foul.
That's the point he's making is maybe like I'm not like a out of control animal. I'm great at what I do, is what he said.
He's built a career on doing this.
Yes, and so maybe that's the point he's making.
Maybe so, but you don't get to be upset about this afterwards if there are penalties coming your way. You have less leeway with the refs when you do this stuff than any other player in the league.
Then that's not fair. Everyone should be judged the same. But I guess I can relate to what, or not relate, but empathize what goes on with black people in this country, John.
That's the big takeaway from this, yes.
Wouldn't you agree, Hardy?
I think that you're setting an example that we all could and should follow.
Thank you. The Mike Schmidt thing and then this. Not a good 6 o'clock hour for John. Bert Breer is in. He'll be on with us in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5.
Celtics had last night off. They'll have tonight off, too. They will play the Knicks at TD Garden tomorrow in Game 3 of their second-round playoff series. The shooting has not been good for Joe Mazzulla through the first 2 games.
To me, when you're not executing the way you need to on the offensive end, it puts more pressure on the situational stuff that you have to get better at.
The Green are down 2-0 and have only 2 series wins in team history after being down 0-2. Last night, Julius Randle scored 24 points to lead Minnesota to a 117-93 home win over Golden State. That best of 7 is now even in a game apiece. Red Sox scored a 5-0 home win over Texas at Fenway Park. Rafael Devers a homer and 2 RBIs to lead the offense. But he made bigger news after the game was over. He told the media that Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow had approached him about playing first base now that Tristan Casas is out for the season, and he refused, saying he didn't think it was appropriate to ask him to change his position again after he just became the full-time DH this spring. The NHL yesterday, former Bruins captain Zdeno Chara to its quarter-century team, and David Pastrnak, Jeremy Swayman, Jakub Lauko, Mason Lohrei, Elias Lindholm, and Andrew Peeke are all the Bruins that are going to participate in the Hockey World Championships, which begin later this morning in both Sweden and Denmark. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Gem Plumbing, cooling installs and 24-hour service. Go to AskGem.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Yo! We are Toucher and Hardy. Bert Breer is here. You can watch him on YouTube as our show is live on there. Senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for the MMQB. RC, who said, "You idiots," texted back and said, "You're right. After I sent it, I said I thought I should have only sent it to John." This morning at the 6 a.m. hour, John was considered the fool. This is from Daniel. John was considered the fool, but no one noticed Hardy completely make a fool of himself while trying to recite the quote, "Better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove any doubt."
Yeah, I was paraphrasing that quote.
Who is the fool now, Hardy? For shame, people in glass houses, Hardy.
John.
Whoever the quote.
For saying Mike Schmidt. I think I made that abundantly clear.
The only reason I read that is that I now am completely vindicated.
You avoided everything.
It's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time. Because I am often unfairly criticized. All right, Bert Breer, you are here. So this is going to be a random start, but it's a big story, so follow me if you would. So after Cleveland lost Game 2, I became fascinated with Cleveland radio, and I turned it on, and I was not disappointed. So that they were talking about that. But
it's like a relatively, for the size of the city, it's a pretty intense sports market.
And it's a very, very specific sports market in their complaining, and it's pretty funny. Mm-hmm. So they whatever with the Cavaliers, but of course it did turn to the Browns. Outdoors, the indoor stadium, everything, they were bitching about it. But so if you've been following Shedeur Sanders,
mm-hmm.
he went and spoke to a school, like in Cleveland, like right after he was drafted. So you think, all right, well, that's nice of the guy. He went to a school. Well, the people in Cleveland do not like this. And the reason is... Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
So the people in Cleveland are very upset because he is getting followed around by a video team.
Yep.
And they don't like that because he has not played in the NFL yet.
To be fair, I think it was one radio host that was upset about this.
Whatever. It was the one I was listening to, and people were calling it and agreeing. And they're like, but it's funny when they talk because they're talking to their own audience. And they're like, this old school town. It's old school town. This is old school town. And then guys would call in and go, this is old school town. And it's funny because you're all talking to each other.
The accent's pretty good too. Adds to it.
Yeah, but you're all they have that unique. I can't do it, but that unique Cleveland
it's like
accent.
a cousin of the Detroit accent.
A
like
little
a
bit,
distant cousin of the Detroit.
It's
accent.
like Pittsburgh and Detroit melted together, but and they're all saying to each other and like nodding along. You can see them nodding along. How it's old school town, and you can't just be walking around with the video cameras. I guess I'll ask you.
I mean,
is this controversial in league circles?
No, I mean, like I think I know what their point was.
Yes, I get it too.
It's like if you're doing those sorts of things for the right reason, you don't need to post them on social media right away.
Right.
Which I get that, and I think the whole point was this guy just went through a disastrous PR weekend, and now he's trying to
maybe fly under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, the immediate response is to try to like shine and buff his reputation by going out and not by talking to the school,
sure everybody
but making
knows
sure
about it.
everyone knows exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, I get that, and like I do think the one thing there is like a lot of people are kind of rolling their eyes at right now as far as the way Shedeur has handled this post-draft is why is the camera crew still around? Why are we still seeing everything? Do we still need to see everything? Or should you go into the team, should you go join your new team as the anonymous 5th-round pick, even though it's hard for you to be that because you've never been that? Like, wouldn't that be the right move here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Oh, yeah, so it was funny that people are reacting.
I mean, there was
way.
video of him walking into the facility yesterday.
Yes, and checking out his locker for the first time.
And he's wearing the
dollar
S2
sign thing. Yeah.
Right. Like, can you just put on something that doesn't have your personal logo on it?
Let's put the gray sweatshirt on and throw some footballs around.
But you know what's interesting is that Travis Hunter. So at the same time this is all going on, Travis Hunter, who was coached by Dion at Jackson State, and then at obviously Colorado, and is like a son to Dion. Travis Hunter is the second pick in the draft. Jacksonville trades up to get him. Mm-hmm. Then he's graduating from Colorado. I guess he's a 2-time academic All-American. This kid's like, I guess, super smart.
Yep.
So Travis Hunter's graduating from Colorado. He gets taken second in the draft. Dion's kid's walking around with video cameras. He gets drafted in the 5th round. And it does raise, I wonder if Shedeur didn't have Dion as his dad, because that seems like when they separated.
You watch Hunter, like all the stuff from Jacksonville, it's everybody else talking about him. He's not talking about himself. Like everybody's, talking about the GM and his press conference and what he said. And like Travis Hunter's just come across as very unassuming for a guy who did things in college football that nobody's done in like half a century, won the Heisman Trophy, and was the second pick in the draft.
Right. So it does lend itself to, because these guys were mentored by the same person.
Yep.
But one has a dad who created a marketing campaign behind him, and one doesn't. And I understand Travis Hunter's way more talented than Shedeur Sanders, but like, say if Hunter's the second pick in the draft, that means Shedeur should have been a high 3rd-round pick, right? Like, I guess if you compared the two, like, or a mid 3rd-round pick, whatever, taken way higher than he was, which is 60 picks higher than he was. It does lend credence to like Dion went too far with his kid.
Yeah,
because as a football guy, he got both. Raised both those, and his other son got, is an undrafted free agent and got signed by a team. So he's got 2 kids.
His other son, by the way, came off great. Like, I don't know if you saw any of this stuff about him.
I didn't.
Tampa?
Yeah. So like his other son, like in all those videos that were posted, and I don't know if the whole thing was on Twitch or whatever, but they had like a lot of the whole weekend was posted on social media, and Shiloh actually came off excellent. Like, joking around about how, like, with Shedeur and the way he was kind of handling the whole situation. Like, I actually got like texts from guys with teams that are like, "Are you watching Shiloh?" Like, and how he was kind of helping his brother through it. So, like, that was actually the flip side of it, was that Shiloh actually came off great through the whole thing, like making fun of himself as like the undrafted free agent, and like,
so yeah,
oh, well, they like if they hate you, they must really hate me.
So it lends to my point that maybe this whole marketing thing, maybe Dion did undercut his kid. Like that, because now you have two examples of like guys that are, doing better, or at least with Travis Hunter, certainly. Because it seems like when he broke off with Dion is when things went really well for him. And then when Shedeur didn't, that's where. So I don't maybe it's a nice lesson for parents.
Well, and
there's a time to let go.
And I think there's also, there's just an element there of what you're inviting into your building.
That's
and
it, Bert.
And I think a lot of people, and I think a lot of people, like the concern that a lot of teams had has sort of been confirmed since the draft.
Because you can let go as a parent, but chances are you are not going to bring with you, the biggest helicopter parent in the world who's doing everything for their kid and might be a pain in the ass for teams looking at your kid, is not going to bring the same thing to the table that Dion Sanders is.
Yeah, and
that's what they didn't. It's like, we don't need this. Not for a guy who's probably not going to play. And certainly not going to play this year, so what's the point?
And as I've dug around on it the last couple of weeks, one thing that's really interesting, and I've got this from a bunch of people, is that everybody made fun of the Dylan Gabriel pick, right? What I heard was he checked every single box except for height. And weight.
Yeah.
So, but I
5'11", 200. Yeah.
But there's an important point here, though. Like, as he was going through the process, and as the Browns were meeting with him, and as the Browns did the different things with him, like, he checked every box: personality, leadership, smarts, like all the intangible stuff. Like, Dylan Gabriel was off the charts, and I think that's important now because that's who Shedeur is going to be compared to, right? So if you have all of this stuff over here, right, and this stuff doesn't calm down and level off, and if he doesn't just become the 5th round pick, look what's sitting right next to him. The coaches who are in that room, what are they looking at? They're looking at 2 rookies.
And they wanted one and they didn't, and the owner wanted the other.
And I don't know if that's necessarily, I think that might be a little unfair, but because I do think like Shedeur.
So the GM wanted to take quarterbacks in 2 different rounds?
I think Shedeur, what I've heard on, as I've dug some more on that, it was just, he was, I don't want to compare him to Brady, but you remember the Brady thing, like where it was like, he's just sitting up there on the board, and like, it gets to the point where, and I think for the GM and the coach, it gets to the point where it's like, is this 5th round pick going to make our team? You know? And it's like, at some point it becomes worth the flyer, where you're not passing on a guy who's even going to be running down on kickoffs for you. Now you're passing on to get Shedeur Sanders and to just take that swing. You're passing on a guy who may not ever play in a game for you. And then I think
okay, but if I own the team, I don't like that, because what I'm saying is this: is that, well, in the 5th round you should get we suck. You should get a guy that can play for us. And second of all, you should be able to get a guy that can at least play special teams for us. And second of all, you took a quarterback. Now we have 5 guys in this quarterback room.
And I don't know how you manage it.
And I don't know how you're managing it. So if it wasn't the owner, then I call into question the sanity of the GM.
And so that, and that's what's so interesting, and what's going to be interesting about the next 6 weeks there, is that generally, like, this is like the quote unquote teaching period, and the competition doesn't really ramp up till the summer, but they don't have any choice. They have to at least stage some level of competition because there aren't going to be enough reps to go around in the summer. So they got to figure out, like, to some degree, who can play for them and who can't. And like, that means over the course of the next 6 weeks, it's like Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel are going to have to earn the opportunity just to compete in the summer, because you can't really efficiently hold a 4 quarterback competition in training camp because you're worried about getting the rest of the team ready to play.
Did they tell Flacco he's making the team in order to sign him?
I don't think he has any.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look like that's the other interesting part about it, is that the guarantees in Flacco's contract are almost identical to the guarantees in Kenny Pickett's contract. So the penalty for walking away from either of those guys is the same. So then the other layer to it becomes and this is without even getting to what happens when Deshaun Watson's cleared, right?
Yeah,
But in this case, like part of it is going to be, it's not are Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders ready to be the starter? It's are either of those guys ready to be the backup? Because if one of those guys is ready to be the backup, then you could say, okay, like we can cut one of the veterans. If they aren't, now Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel are competing for a roster spot. Right. Like, so that's where Shedeur could get in trouble, is if neither of them are ready to, and generally third-round picks make the team.
Yeah.
If neither of them show that they're ready to be the backup, like, well, then that's when things get a little sketchy and you start to have the conversation, can we get him through the practice squad? Who are we cutting to keep him? Like, it's definitely complicated. And again, like if Deshaun Watson gets cleared in September and October, then it's add a whole different element to
they said that he was going to get cleared, they thought, in October.
Yeah.
Well, you would know too. And that then they can cut him next year. Like they can cut him in the offseason.
They could, yeah. I mean, they still have the guaranteed money, so like that's all part of it. Like they owe him $46 million this year, $46 million next year. They aren't getting out of that. That's all fully guaranteed. So they could cut him next year, but they would still be paying him out. You know, like why it wasn't really feasible to pay him 92. Like, and he's hurt now, so that's the other part of it. So you're not really like losing anything by keeping him on the roster right now. We get to next March, now we're talking about something different where it might be just
they seemed pretty confident that they were going to just cut him.
Yeah, I don't think I think things would have to turn around pretty drastically for him to be on the roster in 27.
Right.
Or 26.
Is that the worst free agent signing or the worst Yeah,
it's up there.
Free agent signing ever.
I can't, considering the dollars
trade.
But then they
extended
him. But then they.
But Herschel Walker.
But Herschel Walker was
fine.
Yeah, he was still pretty good.
Terrible.
No. Considering the dollars involved, what can possibly be worse than this?
Yeah.
Well, the Ricky Williams trade was bad.
Well, a whole draft for one player.
But again, Ricky Williams was a pretty good player.
Well, yeah, but then he retired and came back and everything.
The thing with Deshaun was at the time,
Ricky Williams really just had one problem, which wouldn't be a problem anymore.
Which wouldn't be a problem
anymore. But at the time, I mean, I'm not saying it was the only one, but I remember sitting here with Beetle and Zoe and saying, like, how do we know he can actually play? Because he hadn't played at that point when they made the trade and then signed him the big extension. 16 months? He hadn't played, and I would say the majority of people were convinced, wow, this is a game changer for Cleveland. This is going to be great. He's the real deal.
But you know what it was, Hardy, though? It was much as anything else, like how hard it is to get into that, like, I've referred to it before as being in the club, right? Like, and in the AFC, it's really hard to be in the club. Cincinnati's in the club. Kansas City's in the club. Baltimore's in the club. Buffalo's in the club. And then you have teams that are right there, like, on the periphery, the Chargers, the Texans, maybe the Patriots wind up there with Drake May. We'll see. This was like the Browns looking at it and the prospect of paying Baker Mayfield, which was a big piece of this. They were right at that point where they were going to pay Baker Mayfield.
We're going to have to.
And they basically made the determination, like, we're not going to be able to get to that level with Baker Mayfield, so paying him might be a mistake. So here's a shortcut for us to get in the club, because Deshaun Watson would put you in the club if he played the way that he did before all of
it's very interesting. All right, look, we got a break. We'll be back. We have more of Bert in just a moment. both like, well, Hardy's doing an event with Rob Gronkowski for charity.
They're both Hardy things.
They're both Hardy things. Yeah. So Hardy yesterday, I just, anytime he brings up golf, I try to annoy him, like as best as I can. And he brought up this, is it We Met thing?
The We Met Fund.
No. You didn't bring the We Met Fund. I turned it into the We Met Fund. You brought up that you brought up something about We Met, was a
And what's
famous
his first
golfer.
name? You know his name.
Francis?
Yeah,
There you go.
So then I immediately started to bother Hardy about the scholarship fund and how I have to give money to it and this and that. And I got a very heartfelt note from the CFO of my club, who was a big listener, and it was very nice, and I appreciated about how much the scholarship had meant to him and all these things.
And how much it means to everyone.
And how much it means to everyone, and how all these guys give a lot of money to it and this and that. And I had to explain to him, I'm only trying to bother Hardy.
And let it be known, which I'm glad you did. It's like, Hardy brings these things up to get a rise out of me.
Well, you did,
Yeah,
but
of course I did.
it was which I appreciate. The Hardy's taking that as I was blaming him for it, but I wasn't.
No, I didn't take it.
Oh, okay, good, because I was just saying, like, Hardy knows I'm going to annoy him, so he's doing it deliberately to, obviously, if you listen to the show, it should be fairly obvious that Hardy wouldn't bring up this if he didn't know that I was going to then start making fun of it, regardless of what it was. And so I just was making fun of that. It gets taken out of my dues to this scholarship fund. And then I was busting Hardy's balls that I actually therefore have given money to this fund while he hasn't.
You don't know that I haven't.
Well, then make the statement that you have.
Why? I'm not in the witness stand.
Let's go through Hardy's taxes and see if he wrote anything off. So it was pretty funny. I sent him the email and I'm like, look at what you've done.
Yeah.
You've created quite a bit of a no, but apparently the We Met scholarship is a very good thing. Yeah. So there you go. You have that. All right. Bert is here. All right. Camps are coming up. What are we to look for now in the coming weeks?
And just a thing about these camps. Which camps are these? Are these the non-mandatory mandatory camps that are coming up here?
Well,
are these the Aaron Rodgers skippers?
So the rookie mini camp, there were 6 of them last weekend. There are 26 this weekend. The Patriots are in theirs this weekend. Shedeur will be in his. One thing I did think I should add on Shedeur, because I did mention with with everything that went on pre-draft and everything else and kind of how he was on their board. That's all true. They also met with Jimmy Haslam. There's a smaller meeting that the head coach and the GM have with the owner, and I'm not 100% positive what happened. And that could be the meeting where, at least that they know what his preferences are. But I do know he would, Shedeur was at a point in the board where
I don't doubt that he was at a point in the board where
they felt like they couldn't pass on him, right? And it was like him versus a guy who might not make the team.
Okay, but that also might be a way of explaining why they took him after the fact.
Yeah,
right. So
I don't think you take a kid in the 3rd round and then turn around the kid and take a 5th round. Now you might take a kid in the 3rd round and then take a kid in the 7th round.
That's what's complicated about it, right? Exactly.
Remember when Washington took that Schuler kid in the 1st round,
Farad,
and then they took Gus Farad in the 7th round.
Yeah. Well, then Washington did it again with RG3 and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. So, but those are
and then the Patriots did it last year.
Oh yeah, with Milton. So there is precedent for taking a guy high and taking a guy very late.
Yep. Yeah, but not nearly back to back.
But when you already have 2 veterans with starting experience in the roster. Anyway,
I just can't imagine the GM was like, let's take Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. And then when they were like, oh, we can't pass on Shedeur.
And Shedeur was their last pick also.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting nuance to it, too.
Right. Because if I'm a GM, I don't think I'm bopping around going like, hey, these 5th round picks aren't making the team.
Right.
Then I'd be like, well, then wwhy are we...
Yeah.
Why aren't we trading every 5th round pick that we have for someone who will make the team?
Yeah. So, I think, so where we are in the calendar, the stuff this weekend is the rookie stuff, and the rookies from across the NFL jump in with the veterans starting Monday. All that stuff is voluntary from now until the middle of June when they have the mandatory mini camps, which is like where you'll see players holding out. They can get fined for missing it, all of that.
Okay, so let's get into what's going on with the Steelers. They trade Pickens yesterday, and I guess you can speak to this. Everyone was thrilled in Pittsburgh and the league.
Yeah.
Is it true that the Steelers were trying to draft Pickens around the draft and teams were like, no? Because that's a report that's out.
There was a lot of smoke around Pickens coming out. And just kind of like his attitude, his football makeup. He was also hurt his last year at Georgia, which is part of the equation. I don't think this is a bad-hearted guy. I do think like everything that you would worry about with a receiver comes with him.
I've never seen anyone so demonstratively
everything you worry about, like
misbehaving on the field.
And so like here's the thing. So he plays the same position as DK Metcalf. So for the Steelers, a huge part of this equation was if we get to the middle of the year and we're trying to win right now, and we go through a 3 or 4 game stretch where DK Metcalf is going off and George Pickens has like 5 catches over 3 weeks, what's going to happen? Because that wasn't good last year. It wasn't good the year before. Now you've got a guy at his position, not just another receiver, at his specific receiver position, who is making $30 million a year, and he is playing for life-changing money. Do you think that's going to be better than it was the last couple of years? Probably not, right?
But now he's in Dallas in a very similar situation.
CeeDee Lamb goes off and he gets 5 passes.
And that's the thing is like, and that's putting a lot on your first-year head coach too, in Brian Schottenheimer, where he's going to have to manage that now. And CeeDee Lamb might actually be a captain because sometimes you just make your best players captains, but he's not. Like, I don't think CeeDee Lamb's the guy who's going to put his arm around a guy. You know what I mean? And so it'll be really interesting to watch because I think a lot of people ignore these things when these sorts of trades are made. You know, a lot of people ignore the medical, they ignore the character because they get all excited because they see the highlights and and this guy is wildly talented. You tell me how many Pittsburgh receivers have made it after Mike Tomlin was done with them.
Oh, of course. I mean, you have Antonio Brown. You have
Martavius Bryant, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Plaxico. Did Plaxico burst himself when he was on Pittsburgh?
No, all right. No, but he was pre.
Oh, he was pre Mike Tomlin,
and he was pretty good for the Giants. But like, even Santonio Holmes was pretty good for the Jets. But then he the problems cropped up with him. Like, Mike Tomlin is the best in the league at getting the most out of guys and reaching guys who have these sorts of issues. And so I think it's a huge red flag when he's done with somebody. It's one of the reasons why the Steelers are able to cast a wide net from a talent perspective. They're able to look at more guys in the draft than other teams because they know Mike can handle lots of different types of personalities. I mean, Tomlin's so good at it, like, I think a lot of us thought Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell were pretty good guys before.
Yeah. Was Le'Veon Bell a bad guy, or was Le'Veon Bell just kind of done?
And I think that's where it is with a lot of these guys. Is like a lot of them aren't bad guys, but they're very hard to handle.
Well, Le'Veon Bell carried the ball so much at Michigan State and then carried the ball so much with Pittsburgh. I was under the impression that a lot of it was. Did he cause problems with the Jets, or was he just not good?
There was a bunch of stuff.
Okay, there was. I don't remember.
But I think it's.
I don't remember hating Le'Veon Bell. I just remember just going like he's done.
So, if the Steelers look at it and say it's too much for us, and we don't want to deal with it.
Deontay Johnson, another example.
Deontay Johnson is another example. I mean, there are lots of them. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't like. Look, I think Brian Schottenheimer is going to build a good. Like, if you've been around Brian Schottenheimer for 5 minutes, you can he'll be able to build a good atmosphere and create good vibes in the locker room and all. But to hand him this situation it's a lot to ask of a first-year head coach for sure.
Well, since you're here and we're talking about the Steelers, are they interested in Rodgers anymore? What's going on with that?
No, that's still there. I think. With his personal thing that's going on with his assistant, what? I
don't know what's going on.
Well, it's what he referenced in the McAfee show.
Wrong thing to bring up.
My bad. No, he like he referenced like that he's been working through a personal issue and with somebody in his circle. And so like this is something that's been going on for a while now. Now I think no matter what you think of Rodgers, if somebody's dealing with something like that, like we can all respect that. And I think that for the Steelers right now, it's okay. We could really push him to sign with us now so we know we have him. And we could risk pissing him off. And then if we get him in, then we're going to show up for our off-season program for OTAs. And the only thing anyone's going to be talking about is, why isn't Aaron here? Why isn't Aaron here? Why isn't Aaron here? Or we can, at the risk of potentially losing him because he could reverse course and decide he wants to retire, another opportunity could come up somewhere with another team because of God knows what could happen in May or June. Like he could, he like that's you risk losing him that way. But if you you might win him too, and just saying like, look, like you take care of what you got to take care of, and whenever you're ready, we're here for you. And I think their fallback would be probably calling the Falcons on Kirk Cousins if for one reason or another it doesn't work.
Why are the Falcons so stubborn about Kirk Cousins?
Because they don't want to pay them. They don't want to pay out. Like if they had been willing to pay down some of that contract to buy a draft pick back from somebody, I think a trade would have happened. But they weren't willing to pay down the money because of the investment. They could have walked away. So they could have walked away before the $10 million for next year vests. Waiting past that date obviously makes it a little more complicated to trade him because now the next team is dealing with that in 2026. If you cut him, then he obviously just goes somewhere else and signs for the minimum. And then once you get past the deadline in March where the $10 million is vested, the other team's not taking on just $27.5 million. They're taking on $37.5 million, and 10 of it is next year. So, I think finding another team that's willing to take on a big chunk of that money or all of that money has been hard. And I said all along, I think like the best thing for Michael Penix would be just to clear the decks and allow for him to have it's your team now. So even if you have a bad month early in the season, no one's going to be crying for your backup. Like I think having Kirk Cousins on the roster introduces some stuff that might not be the best thing for your young quarterback. And I advocated for the idea of like pick up $10 million, pick up $15 million of the money, and just like you're more or less buying a draft pick instead of cutting him.
All right. Well, look, you're more than welcome to, since you came all the way in, to hang out. But I don't have any more NFL in me. But you're more than welcome to stick around. But I mean that's
Bert didn't
that's
sleep
as much
well
as I
last
got.
night.
Well, we
Neither
went
did
to
I.
Atlanta. We went to Atlanta, which is maybe we've gone too far now into the NFL.
Well, the Rodgers thing, and then if they would be interested in Kirk Cousins, but I got nothing left.
All good.
The draft is so important to me, Bert, and when that's over, there's quite a hangover.
It's so important that he took the whole week off and wasn't here for it.
Yeah.
Touche, my friend.
Well, I can
the
sympathize.
sacrifices we make for our children.
I can sympathize because that was school vacation week, which hasn't happened.
I was away.
Since my kids have been school age, that has not happened yet.
And my children are children of divorce, and it's very important that you let them know that they're loved.
Very quickly, Bert, didn't you say there was something happening next year too with it? Like the schedule's lining up similarly?
I think it's the same thing, yeah. Where Patriots Day is the Monday of draft week, which
I don't know what you're smiling at, Wallach, because I ain't doing that thing again next year. You can sit in there and have a stupid ass-eating grin on your face.
I think
you will be here.
You had fun. Admit it. You and Rochi had lots of fun at the starting line.
It was fine, but both you being out and not getting to do that at the very least with me, or maybe instead of me next year.
At least I was there for year one.
Well, you didn't like going to the marathon start?
Well, the Pope getting elected, I heard, has gotten Wallach's kids very excited to go to Vatican City. So maybe that's what they'll do for the next spring break.
Yeah,
they would love it.
They would love it, just like they love Paris, France.
Well, there's catacombs.
Yeah, and they've gotten a half a hotel room this time because they realized that one was too many.
There were some bumps in the travel. It didn't go smoothly the entire time.
The hostel.
Yeah, why pay? I mean, you just stay with the kids.
Kids, we've got a yurt. You're gonna love it.
Well, now listen, the chances of you, meeting women for the first time in this hostel have increased. quite a bit, but there you go. We're going to do that for you. But there you have it. All right. Here are the headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics are down 2-0 to the Knicks in that best-of-7 second-round playoff series. Game 3 tomorrow afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Red Sox beat Texas for a second straight day, 5-0 at Fenway Park. They'll be in Kansas City to play the Royals tonight. Rafael Devers homered and drove in a pair of runs yesterday, and then after the game told the media Craig Breslow had asked him about playing first base. And he told the chief baseball officer of the organization he wouldn't do it after switching from third base to be a full-time DH this season. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Albrecht Auto Group, Zoe's Auto Dealer. Get respect at Albrecht, now 8 locations, including the all-new Subaru of Wakefield. Thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles, all at the right price at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day
right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
Ina looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. We're supposed to talk to Rob Gronkowski at 8:40. Rob Gronkowski, remember, was on with Julian Edelman saying that what happened with Bill Belichick and his girlfriend was normal. That every so I wonder if Rob will have a press person on with him to step in and shoot down
Wait,
questions.
he said it was normal?
Yes, Edelman and Gronkowski
I
for
saw
whatever
he defended
reason.
him.
Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Belichick and this whole interview thing with Jordan, people are giving an unfair reality of what's going on because she was jumping into that conversation during the interview just like any PR person would jump in when there's an unnecessary question that probably didn't go over in the pre-production meeting. From what I've heard, Jordan is playing the Bears role, handling all the football ops, handling a lot of his social, a lot of his PR. When you look at this situation and you say, oh, this is his girlfriend jumping in, I think that's unfair. I think she's actually working with Coach Belichick in the professional world, and she probably went and said, hey, no, we're not doing that. Doesn't that always happen whenever you do an interview? Do you not have a representative there?
Yeah, she's becoming his representative on top of being a girlfriend. No one's really put this hand in hand together. When your name is Jordan and you're on the University of North Carolina Tar Heel campus, you're God.
Never thought about it.
You're untouchable if your name is Jordan.
They're winning the Natty this year, potentially.
All right, they said natty, and then he made a horrible that could
Isn't that like a little disrespectful to Bears, who was like a public relations professional for 30 years?
And by the way,
and like by all like it's good. Like look, like I think a lot of us in this market have had our battles with but Bears was really good at what he did.
Well, that's part of the reason that Belichick's falling apart is he's with Bill O'Brien now.
Right.
Yeah. So no, I'm aware of that. There's so many things about that are wrong. First of all, if Edelman ever came on this show and had a PR person in the room with him and was interrupting the interview, I would laugh my ass off and go get the hell out of here.
And it'd become a bit
Julian
for a month.
Edelman. It would become a bit for a month.
Yeah.
So that would never in a million years ever happen. It never has, and it never will. There won't be a PR. If there's a PR person on the phone with Gronkowski, it will be hysterical. I can't wait because I'll just talk to the PR person and be extraordinarily combative. So that would be great. So that now Edelman does TV and does TV and podcasts. So when he's doing interviews, there's someone in the wings standing there ready to step in and interrupt the podcast. And what hasn't been discussed in the pre-interview,
being interviewed is going to have a problem with certain questions being asked or is unwilling to answer certain questions. It's that publicist's job to address that with the media outlet that's doing the interview.
And then what are you risking?
Other way around.
And what are you risking at that point if you do that? That they're going
to walk.
Yes. And then you are promoting a book, which you cannot have them walk because you have to be on the lightweight CBS Morning News. This argument is just asinine. I can't wait to well, Gronkowski didn't make the argument. He doesn't know what's going on.
I mean,
there's someone standing on the Fox set whenever they have someone on ready to jump in front of the camera and yell, like, stop it. Stop. It doesn't happen. How would you know, Fred? Oh, I don't know. I've interviewed Sylvester Stallone. I've interviewed very, very famous people. There's no one standing there.
John and I did the interview with Gronk last year at the marathon, the one year you did decide to show up.
Yes.
And you know, Edelman set it up. It's like, this happens all the time, right? Rob's like, yeah. No. John and I sat there and had a conversation with Rob Gronkowski. If anyone was nearby, I wasn't aware of them. And if they
wasn't,
but you guys don't if they had stepped in and said, we're not doing this, I'd said, oh, actually, we are doing it. Are you listening? We're doing it right now.
Bill Cosby, Dan Aykroyd, the Elton John's press people didn't kick me out. My own people kicked me out. I mean, I've interviewed Sylvester Stallone. I'm just trying to think of like really big stars, like not musicians. I mean, every musician. But like, I've never, ever had a guy pop it. They come with an entourage and they sit outside, or they come in and film, and they stay out of the interview. It's ridiculous. It's not true
because it makes the person being interviewed look incompetent if they step in.
Bingo.
Like they can't handle it themselves.
Right.
So, especially if there's somebody of that sort of stature.
Guess what? He couldn't handle it.
So, Bert, do you think you're looking at like a level of incompetence with Bill? This was Fred's point. It's kind of interesting. Like all the lip smacking and mumbling and stuff over the years. Was that an affectation, or was he really stuck for an answer?
I think you're seeing. I think part of what you're seeing for sure. I don't think he's incompetent, but I think like what you're seeing for sure is the amount of infrastructure that he had around him and the way he had that place wired in Foxborough, where like everything was turnkey for him, and now he's being pulled out of that infrastructure that he had worked 25 years ago to build up to the point where it was at for all of those years. You pull him out of that infrastructure, and it's not really being rebuilt the same way at North Carolina.
Well, you got
now you're left with what you're left with.
You got Jordan and Lombardi. I mean, it's the same thing.
Well,
right?
and
you're two incompetents running for incompetent.
I also like. I'm not so sure I'm not so sure we aren't overcomplicating this a little bit, in that this is just Edelman and Gronk bending over backwards to try to defend their guy.
But I know for a fact, not those two, but the players are having a great time with all of this.
Oh yeah. You don't think those two are having a great time?
Well, he's gonna admit it. I'll tell you that.
I think Gronk has said stuff, hasn't he?
Probably. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's funny. This guy busted their balls.
I think he said stuff publicly.
Yes, I think he has. Yes, of course. All right, look. Bert, thank you for joining us.
Yep.
I had to get into Jordan thing because Miss Maine pageant is this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
We think.
Yeah.
It costs money.
Jamel heading up.
It costs money to get it online. It costs $30.
Does it really?
You have to join a pageant website.
I wonder if there's going to be a spike in subscriptions over the next couple of days.
I got to pay for this thing so Ryan can tape it so we can at least have it.
So this would be like getting like what's the there's Live Barn for if your kid's playing hockey, right? That's probably the same concept.
Like Game Changer, yeah.
Game Changer for baseball, yeah.
That sort of thing. All right. Well, thank you, Bert. Everyone read the MMQB and all these things that he's involved in, and Amazon when the football season starts again. Thank you, Bert.
All right, thanks, guys.
We'll be back. These Knicks fans are having quite a time. We will be back with that in just a moment.
HD Plus 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics were off last night. They remain idle until tomorrow afternoon when they visit the New York Knicks for Game 3 of their best-of-7 second-round playoff series. Jason Tatum struggled in Game 2. He's hoping for something different soon.
I give them credit. They've been playing well. But on the flip side, it's just taking ownership and knowing that you got to play better. And, I will.
Greater down 2-0 after losing back-to-back games at home by a total of 4 points. Last night, Minnesota beat Golden State 117-93 to even that series at a game apiece. Red Sox beat Texas 5-0 at Fenway Park yesterday afternoon. They wound up splitting their 6-game homestand. Rafael Devers homered and drove in a pair of runs to lead the offense. And then after the game, told the media chief baseball officer Craig Breslow had approached him about playing first base now that Tristan Casas is out for the season. And Devers said he refused, saying he didn't think it was appropriate to ask him to change his position again. The NHL yesterday named former Bruins captain Zdeno Chara to its quarter-century team, and that highlights its best players from the first 25 years of the 2000s. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Celebrate Mother's Day at the Nines and treat Mom to delicious new menu specials like their famous colossal or hot buttered lobster rolls. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Boston plays here.
Pritchard, half court, it's in the air. He got it! He did it again!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Todger and Hardy
That's what I want on my tombstone.
on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Watch the show on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. Hardy's seen this. There is something strange afoot. I got an email from a listener that says, Freddie Baby, it's from Brian, it says, Freddie Baby, you moonlighting in ads for ab workouts, looking good, my friend. I put it up on Instagram. Get your Instagram up, Wallach, and Adam if you have it. It's almost, Hardy would agree, it's almost like they AI'd my face onto a body because the body's hairless, very unmasculine. So it's obviously not my body, but it looks exactly like almost like they AI'd my face onto an ad.
Whoa. Look at that.
Wow.
How about that?
Like it looks exactly like me. Now the guy's a hairless twink. I mean, he's no stud.
He's got a little patch there. He's got a little bit of fuzz.
A patch is not what I have.
But he's not nowhere close to your manly.
I have a forest of masculinity.
You are.
Yeah, I have a forest of pheromones.
Yeah.
Yes.
I call
with the
it
Detroit
the
Tigers
FP.
hat on, you might as well be Magnum PI.
Thank you.
See?
I mean, you're not the first to say that. I have when I am with women in their 70s. They often ask me to put on the Tigers hat and put on a fake mustache
and a Hawaiian
shirt, which I leave open, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll come in. I'll come in. I got a brightly colored helicopter that a toy, but I fly it around and then I land it.
Right.
And then I dust off that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Look at that.
Well,
I'm on gilfs.com. It's a app for lonely seniors. I fly down every year. You think I'm on vacation with my kids, but I'm actually down at that the residences or whatever it's called down there in Florida, the big old retirement place, community. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do dudes. Don't think I won't. The price is right. All right, so the Knick fans, it is strange, though. It's up at Fred Toucher. It does look exactly like I was AI'd my face. AI is going to get things super weird. But the great thing is plausible deniability to everything.
Yeah.
Is that now you can just go as AI, well, me. All right, so here's the deal. Indeed, alcohol. Here's the deal. Knicks fans are very pleased with themselves. We played this audio at the end of the show yesterday. This was a scene. I'm sure you've all seen it by now. It is like about 75 Knick fans. They're all dorks. I mean, they really are. And they're carrying on after the game. I don't know why. They've all collected in one section. And this poor usher, this woman, she's probably I don't want to speculate on her age, but she's not, a young woman. She's middle-aged. She's trying to get these people out. The point is, it's a middle-aged woman. She's not able to physically manhandle them. Get them out. Yeah, and this is what's going on.
Security! Help! Help! Get them out! Get them out!
And no one's paying attention to this poor woman. The security's afraid of a bunch of dorks humming around the Seven Nation Army. I mean, it's really a collection of nerds, and they all have their nick little uniforms on, and there's nothing worse than a basketball jersey when worn by a civilian outside of playing basketball. It doesn't look good. You in a basketball, MF Doom in the Knicks jersey is okay because he knows what he's doing.
He's beefy.
Yeah.
He's very beefy.
He's coming, and he's got a mask on.
Yeah.
So, but you in your uniform, it's not so cool.
You can't rock the T-shirt underneath it. That makes it look
like my
worse.
son asked for Christmas. He asked for the guy from the 76ers. He likes him. He's like
Tyrese Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey. And so I said I got him a Maxey T-shirt with Maxey on the back of the number. I'm not running around with some stupid basketball jersey on. It's cosplaying. It's not. It looks ridiculous with your dumb Knicks jerseys and waving hankies.
Go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go! Say go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York.
And like cool guys like Stretch Armstrong and stuff put that on their Instagrams. Like the Knicks fans have taken over. I go, this is who you want representing your city?
Yeah.
A bunch of Poindexters. They're not even rabble rousing. They're just cheering. And now a lot of some of them start leaving because they're like, all right, this is enough. Like I've had it. Let's go have fun. Like maybe try to meet a woman or go to a bar or something or go back to the hotel and sleep. But some of only the kings of the dorks, like the comic book guys, are sticking around. So let's just say security is not quick on the draw. And as I said yesterday, a bunch of sporting events. I used to have to go to concerts 3 days a week. Hardy knows the schedule when you were in rock radio back in the day, doing nights. You had to go to shows, every kind of show. And you 99 times out of 100 want security to be more mellow than anything else. You want them to be conversationalists more than you want them to be bruisers. I would have given them 5 minutes to leave. And the ones that didn't leave, now I'm getting out batons. Let's see how quick because they would have scattered like if you dropped a popsicle on the ground, ants to a popsicle, they couldn't have gotten to those exits quick enough. No one was standing. They were of a danger to no one. That would have been very funny to me if just a cop took out a baton and was like, all right, you don't want to leave?
Just one. Just one police officer.
One cop.
One police officer.
Oh, they would have been in no danger. Just one cop take out a baton. This is not a scary crowd, John. It's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. I get it.
There are crowds that are intimidating where you're like, oh, Jesus, these guys are up to no good.
Yeah, what am I going to do?
They're drunk and crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I told you the famous time, famous on the show, that I was at one of the Montreal playoff games at the Garden. And there were two guys, and they were at the Bobby Orr statue, and they were standing in Montreal Canadiens jerseys, and they were waving a Montreal Canadiens flag. And the cops went up to them, and they said, hey, if you stay up there, you're going to get your asses kicked, and there's nothing we can do about it. They're like, you can stand up there, but a big crowd's coming, and if you want to stand up there, you're going to get your asses kicked, and there's not much we can do about it because there's two of us, and there's going to be, I don't know if they went into this kind of detail, but they're like, I don't even think they did. I just think they said you're going to get your asses kicked. And those two guys folded up shop and got off that thing before you knew it because those cops were right. Why do I have to control the crowd to protect you when you're instigating a bunch of drunk hockey fans coming into a stadium? Like, you should be safe to go to a game.
But these handful of Knicks fans filing out and acting like that, no, what it would have taken was one Boston cop who's already having a bad day.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be there.
Didn't even want to work this detail.
Right.
That would have ended it real quick.
Because there is like, look, you should be able to go to a game, a concert, anything, and not be bothered. Like you should be, not only not be harassed, you should not be bothered. People shouldn't bother you. You have that right as a spectator. But if you are in a place where you're outside of the game or like outside of like when the game is over and you're loitering around looking to antagonize, then you're inviting trouble. You want trouble. The whole point of staying there and quote unquote taking over the Garden is that you're badasses. They're all filming themselves. They look like those dumb San Diego fans when they were like, let's go, Goose. Like they're taping each other. They're all so happy with each other. They're so thrilled with themselves. And they're all pussies. And it would have been funny if they would have just gotten if a cop
going down to yellow and brown. That's what's in.
Yeah, they're like these guys.
Padres on the
They're all
loose.
smiling
Let's
and taping
go,
each other.
Goose.
Let's see you smile with
That's
a mouth with no teeth in that mouth of yours. Take one baton to the mouth, you dork. We're gonna stick around. I'll tell you, I New York. I like, and I like people from New York. My parents are from New York. I like the town, but these Knicks fans are cicadas. They come out of nowhere every 5 years, and they pop up, and they're so annoying. I heard a guy call into a national show yesterday. He called into Joe yesterday. You know, I'm in the car a lot. So he called into Joe yesterday, and he goes, I'm a Knicks fan. And Joe's like, ugh. And the guy's like, look, dude, I'm a Knicks fan and a Jets fan. They're going to lose the series. And I went, that's a fan.
Amen.
I played golf with a Knicks fan last night, and he is just like the guy who called in the Joe show. Now, he didn't say they're going to lose the series, but obviously not everybody is like this, but there's plenty of them out there that are just
you should be resigned that you're losing.
Either waiting for the inevitable, or they're certainly not acting like these idiots.
Before 2004, John, do you always thought the Red Sox were going to lose?
Yes.
Correct?
Constantly. Yes. No matter what.
You should have a defeated attitude. And that's the thing, is that you're a cynical northeastern city with a team that has been not won anything in my lifetime. And I'm no spring chicken. You should be resigned to the fact that something's going to go wrong. This is not a time of celebration. You're acting like a fan from, like if Oklahoma City gets something, you look like a rube with this celebrating and dancing around. You should know that your hopes are up just to be taken out of you. I thought you're a tough town where, get to walk in and everything else, taxi driver and things of that nature. You're acting like a bunch of dorky goons. Goons isn't even the right term. Just dorks is the right term. I apologize for not having a thesaurus in front of me, but I can think of no other term.
Yeah, rube didn't really fit either.
No, they're acting like rubes.
With your good purse and your bad shoes. You look like a rube.
Well, they look like hillbillies, like dumb, like yee cheerleading fans. Hooray, the Knicks won! That's New York? They're acting like Patriots fans in 2008. Boo. Boo.
We have other Knicks fans on the street here, I think.
Yeah.
No, good.
All right. So here are some Knicks fans that one thing that people do is that they set up cameras at the end of games so you get their reaction of how they felt when the game was on.
Yes, it's important.
Which is ludicrous because unless you don't know you're being taped, you're acting. There's no sincere reaction to it. If someone sets up a camera in their living room and then tapes themselves reacting to something, it should be banned from the internet. It might as well be an episode of Full House. They might as well have a laugh track in the background. Oh, look at us, how we plan to react to the end of this game. Oh, did you get excited? Hooray! Hooray! And this is on, and I'm like everyone else. I'm on my phone all the time, becoming a zombie. And I got to watch people pretend to like things that happened.
Let's go, baby. Knicks in 4, baby. Let's go. Jason Tatum.
And that's the thing, is that there's no way you're a Knicks fan. You're someone who wants to be a Knicks fan, but you're not someone who's been following this team. Knicks in 4? What you should be doing if we're really a fan of the team is go, oh boy, I can't believe we won that game. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now Saturday I got to sit through this. That's what my attitude would be. And I'm a fan of the Jets. Do you think I ever go into a situation thinking when something's going good that it's continuing to go away? Why would I think that? No. Under what circumstances would I think that something good's going to happen? No, I think they might win a regular season game. Was I disappointed when I went to the Patriots game and they lost? Yeah, I was disappointed. Did I run around if they would have won that game? Have I ever come in here and gone, guys, boy, oh boy, the Jets have got it. When they got Rodgers, did I go, oh, this is going to be great. Look out,
no,
Super Bowl.
They'll ruin, actually, your correct phrase was they'll ruin him.
Now, did I think they go 5-12? No, I didn't.
No, but you kind of
that even surprised me.
You thought that Rodgers would not perform well simply because he was with New York.
This is an interesting question. Pat, go ahead.
Freddie T. This is a pleasure to talk to you, Hardy. This is Pat from Franklin. Listen, you're a Detroit guy, right? Big Detroit fan, okay?
No, not really, but go ahead.
Well, kind of. And Hardy,
just ask your question.
Didn't you take joy in the fact that the Lions started getting good?
No. Use the example that you used on the phone because I have an answer. You used not the Lions. You used what? Did you say the Tigers? Because that's what Nick put in. Because you put Lions.
He typed it wrong. My point is
Jesus
the Lions.
I'll use the Lions example. The Tigers one was better. But the Lions example was Hardy at the game. When the Lions lost the game, Hardy went, well, that tracks.
Yeah.
Him and his friend. His friend went to the game with him. His friend lives in Michigan.
Yep.
Were they upset?
No.
Now, now, to be fair, I was very upset after the NFC Championship because everything had set up for them, and it's
you could be upset after a championship game. Look, if the Knicks lose Game 7, that's different.
Yeah,
but what I thought he was going to ask.
But yeah, for the divisional game against the Commanders, I was like, I was still in a relatively good mood because of course that was going to happen.
Well, something happened.
Yeah, of course it was going to happen.
And I thought he was going to say, when you were a kid in 1984, were you happy when the Tigers won? And the answer is no. It annoyed the hell out of me. I don't like it when everyone likes something. It bothers me.
You didn't like it when everyone was running around saying, bless you, boys?
No. I hated it. When Billy Munson ran around on his bike yelling, give a hit a homer, give a hit a homer, I hated every minute of it. You know why? Because it's all phony baloney. It's all these Knicks fans that are pretending that they're fans.
Yes, Joe. Any Knicks fan,
that
right.
bothers
Any Knicks
me.
fan worth anything would not be running around joyous up 2 games tonight.
Yes.
They understand the history of this franchise.
That is what I like.
Yes.
Is collective misery, and then perhaps, then that elation when something is achieved. Like if you win a championship, that shocked, honest jubilation. Like the Bruins in 2011. Everyone was very, very
nervous. I mean,
nervous. Let's not go crazy here.
No, it was a foregone conclusion when they went down 0-2 to Vancouver. They weren't going to win.
Right. And so, and then when they won, you were like, Jesus Christ.
That's an honest joy.
And what an honest joy that Bruins championship was. And that's why I've always liked Bruins fans the best out of all the fans here. Because John and I both know about Patriot fans. There are Patriot fans, and then there are Patriot fans. The Patriot fans that grew up with the Patriots that are over the age of 40 have experienced Patriots.
Far different.
The other Patriots fans are meaningless. And then Red Sox fans that are young, who the hell knows? Do they even care?
And it's not even really their fault because we talked about this.
It's not their fault.
No, because
but I don't have any interest in it. It's annoying.
35, 40 years old, you're really only a fan of this team in this century. You're not old enough to be a fan going back. So, yeah, of course you're going to be obnoxious.
Collective, joyous, non-championship fandom, it really annoys me. It really does. And if that was the question I thought I was getting, is that there's an article the Ringer did, and they talked to Shaughnessy, they talked to me. I talk about it. The Patriots dynasty was incredibly annoying, and these Knicks fans are incredibly annoying because the real Knicks fans know nothing is in stone, and they know dread is right around the corner and doom is right around the corner. a real fan. And then if by some miracle the Knicks win this series, then you go, they're going to blow it to Indiana or they're going to blow it to Cleveland. Then if by some miracle the Knicks, who in my lifetime have not won a championship, the game ends and they win the championship, that honest relief, and that's when the joy can be had. Not the process. Not now. And that is how you should be a fan. And anything else is not appropriate because I said so. All right. John and I have differing opinions on Rafael Devers. John made an ass of himself in the 6 o'clock hour. Hopefully that won't happen again.
Try not to.
Maybe you'll have a better example
Okay.
than Mike Schmidt, who he said was not a good defensive third baseman, but it turns out won 10 gold gloves.
Yes.
Then Hardy misused a phrase. It was a real embarrassment.
This Daniel Winters won't leave me alone on the email.
Really?
Don't listen to the 6 o'clock hour at today's show if you're a Hardy or Wallach fan, because you'll come away very disappointed. Only one of us can hold our head high. And after my whole scholarship thing yesterday, this is a great victory.
Yeah,
for me.
you needed something.
And Rob Gronkowski will join us at 8:40, so we'll have all that in just a moment.
don't think, me personally, it's the best.
Then I would say, well, put Roman Anthony or Meyer at first. They're just waiting down in AAA. They're playing meaningless games. Go put them at first.
Putting Meyer at third, which you agreed is a waste.
Is it Meyer or Meyer?
Whatever.
Is it Meyer or Meyer?
I say Marcelo Meyer.
Meyer. So you just said Meyer. Okay, so it is Meyer.
I
Yeah, you said Meyer.
It's Meyer.
You're confusing me. So it's Meyer. All right.
Remember.
Marcelo Meyer, listen.
Put him at first.
They're not going to put him at first.
Right.
Right? Because why?
That would be a waste of his athletic ability.
A waste of his athletic ability. And you're not putting Roman Anthony at first. Why? Because you can't ask him to learn a new position and then go transfer into the major leagues. So if I was Devers, I'd say, wait a second. So you have two prospects that are playing meaningless games, and you're not switching them to first base. You asked me to stop being an everyday player and to become a DH. And now you're asking me to pick up my glove again, go out to first base, and learn a new position while at the same time performing at the plate. Go screw.
Yeah. After being told something totally different through his translator in the preseason.
Yeah, it was after the Casas, what happened to Casas happened. They came to me and talked to me about it. Yeah, I know I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play, every single position out there. In spring training, they, talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove, that I wasn't going to play any other position but DH. So right now, I just feel like it's not an appropriate decision by them to ask me to play another position.
First base is a gigantic hole in this organization. They don't have anyone else to come up and play first base, and that is Craig Breslow's fault. I'm not arguing that. This organization isn't set up appropriately enough to have someone to come and fill in. However, circumstances have changed. There is a lot of pressure on this team to win this year. They have the talent to win this year, and you're not going to win this year with Abraham Toro and Romy Gonzalez platooning at first base. The best option currently available to the Red Sox is to have Rafael Devers play first base, or at least try to, and see if it works. That's the best possible organizational move, because then it opens up the possibility, if you want to add a bat, you're not shoehorned into trying to go get a first baseman. You can get anybody.
But all of a sudden, he's Brendan Donovan. He's Jose Oquendo. Now he's a utility guy. You're treating me like a utility guy. You don't move good players around like this.
First of all, he's a third baseman who's a terrible fielding third baseman. One of the reasons they went out and got Bregman is to improve the defense.
As bad as Mike Schmidt?
Fine, then you made him who knows? Is he that bad? If Schmidt is that bad, the
Schmidt
scale
was
is very high.
10-time Gold Glover that I didn't know was a 10-time Gold Glover.
No, it wasn't only that. It's that you used him as example as a hot-hitting, an all-bat, no-mitt third baseman.
Yes, that's true. I made a mistake in the 6 o'clock hour.
Right.
But
so
at
should
the
we
same,
take you...
At the same,
really, should you be talking?
Is Rafael Devers playing first base the best move for this organization as it is right now?
You could make the argument certainly that it is.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Well,
and for him to pout,
it's not pouting. You generally don't ask guys to do this. You ask catchers sometimes, hey, but I'm selling it like this to a catcher. You are so important to us that I don't want the wear and tear on you. I want to move you. You're so important to me offensively that I want to make you a DH or a first baseman. And then if I'm a catcher, my agent goes to me, we're talking $50 million more the longer you play. You're no Yadier Molina. I'm using all Cardinals because I'm a Cardinal fan. You're no Yadier Molina. You're not playing 15 years as catcher. You're not a freak. But other than that, and other than moving out, like star players generally don't move positions when they're in their prime.
Okay.
And then also, they don't move positions twice in a year. That's a utility player.
Gentlemen, we have breaking news.
This is Breaking Sports News. Powered by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. On 98.5, The Sports Hub.
Pardon me for interrupting the baseball conversation here, but according to the latest episode of Pablo Torre Finds Out, the show's host reports that Jordan Hudson has been banned from the North Carolina football facility.
Oh, yeah, baby. Someone's come to their senses.
Citing multiple UNC sources, The decision was made by members of the university's administration in the wake of Belichick's interview on CBS this morning. We have audio from said podcast.
Fantastic.
With this breaking news.
Somebody finally tightened up their...
Why do I have a boner?
We go to it now.
A couple of breaking news updates since what has happened publicly since we last gathered. Number one, 2 sources at the University of North Carolina tell me that there has been a decision was made last week by the higher-ups inside the athletic department that had hired Bill Belichick to be the highest-paid public employee, not just coach, in the state of North Carolina at $10 million a year. And that decision was that Jordan Hudson is no longer allowed in the football building.
Okay.
She is not allowed on the football field. Quote, don't think you'll be hearing much from Jordan moving forward.
Oh, no.
He goes on to say that Belichick's family is extraordinarily... you know what? Lower your chair because the YouTube camera might pick
Adam
this
was
up.
in my ear, but go ahead. I need to hear this.
Belichick's family is extraordinarily concerned by what has transpired. One Belichick family source told me there is deep worry for how detrimental Jordan can be for not just North Carolina, but Bill's legacy, reputation, everything he has built and worked for over decades.
Oh, it's almost like I knew that.
In fact, the family has been digging into Jordan Hudson as well.
Oh, what a shock. This is news to me. I told you what I was saying was not. There were a lot of fans of what I was saying.
It is about damn time.
And what I was saying, while dismissed by some of you for this whole time, and a lot of people are on board now, and to that I give you all the credit, and thank you for the people that apologized. But you'll recall when I first started speaking last year of this relationship, last summer, I had on good authority that what I was saying was not hated by some. Certainly not hated. And you all out there said, Fred's jealous. Fred's a dick.
Well, you are jealous.
Well, of course, I would love to lose my job and have people banned from the building. Of course.
And by the way,
of course, I have a history of it. I'm single. I bring girls on the air all the time. Every woman I have ever even made a pass at has an open invitation to do an hour.
I think this further vindicates Julian Edelman because we all remember all the times that Berge was banned from the building and banned from the football field.
Sure.
She's just doing that job.
Right. When the head coach has a member of his immediate circle banned from a facility, of course, Julian. And Gronkowski we'll have on in just a matter of moments, so let's break. We can talk to him about all this. What timing?
Perfect timing.
All right, let's not waste any time. Here are the headlines. I love this song because I love it, and it annoys people. Have you ever played this for other people or like your kids?
My kids like it.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
oh,
which I did not expect.
My two love this song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, my kids hate it, and all my friends hate it. So, like, all this, like, grime raps from that generation of, like, British rappers.
Yeah.
I love it all. And people hate it. It annoys the hell out of them. Rob Gronkowski is supposed to join us in a couple seconds. We have this. I'll keep this event under my hat until he
I was
comes
going to
on.
say, I think just you might like this song, but I think everything just sounds better to you right now. I think.
Oh, I'm flying high.
I think if you had a sandwich in front of you, it'd be the best tasting sandwich you've ever had.
Well,
it's the best song you've ever heard.
And if you don't know what Hardy's referring to, the 2011 championship by the Boston Bruins was the greatest thing that's happened since I've been in Boston radio in terms of on the radio. We are living right now through the second, which is the falling of Bill Belichick, which is a tremendous. And we just learned that Jordan, his girlfriend, creative muse, and assistant and partner, has been banned from the North Carolina practice facility and all North Carolina football establishments.
I wonder if Bill actually had a meeting.
Well, who cares?
Yeah, threatened to quit.
Rob Gronkowski, who we used to interview once a week during his rookie year. I don't know if he recalls that. But the second Pickleball for a Purpose, benefiting Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Jimmy Fund and the Gronk Youth Nation Foundation, will be May 28th at the Bossy Premier Pickleball Facility in Natick. That's in the old Needham Marcus at Natick Mall. And Hardy will be playing in that. And they're looking to raise $15,000. You can find out about it at 985thesportshub.com. Rob, it's been a very, very long time. Hello, Rob Gronkowski.
Yes, guys, it's been a while, but it's been a pleasure when I was on with you guys my rookie year, and now we're back. What is like? How long has it been? 15 years now.
Do you remember doing the show once a week?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. I vaguely remember, but I do remember doing it. I forgot who got me onto the show. And what the reasoning was while I was going on.
Well, we were paying you.
But I do remember going
we were paying you money, and you weren't rich yet.
Yeah, I know, but who? Yeah, you're right. You guys were paying me to go on, but I can't recall who brought the deal to me.
Who cares?
If you guys can remember that.
I don't remember.
Rob, you actually came on a version of the show about a year ago at the marathon. Fred wasn't here, but it was me, Hardy, and it was John Wallach.
Yeah.
And it was before you were going over to Fenway to throw out the first pitch, and we had the conversation about what you should do on the mound that day. And what you did ended up going viral, just like we predicted it would.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do remember that. You're the one who gave me the idea to spike the first pitch, and I thought that was brilliant as well when you told me to do that, prior to the Boston Marathon race when we were hanging out. So thank you for the idea. All credit to you, baby.
Oh,
all right. Well, nice. Rob, there was breaking news right before you joined us. I'm not making this up. This is real breaking news, I swear to God. That it has come out from North Carolina that Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, has been banned from all North Carolina football facilities.
Is this real news?
I swear to God, it's real news from
really
Pablo
going
Torres.
on?
It's really going on. I swear to God. I'm not screwing with you.
Well, I can tell you this right now. Jordan and Coach Belichick are not banned from Pickleball with a Purpose on May 28th.
You have learned so much about media. How much are you in?
She wants to.
That's
she
fine.
Can sign Bill up right now, and Pickleball does not discriminate on age either.
There's
so
no
everyone can play.
That's right. It's for old people and young alike. All right, but I have to ask you this: you have to be loving. You have to love this, and I know Hoyer admitted it. Nankovich has admitted it. You guys have group chats where this is all got to be very fun for you. This whole Belichick thing. You have to be at least laughing. You're a fun guy. You've got a good sense of humor. With all the way he was, this has got to be kind of fun for you. Funny.
Mm-hmm. It is, and back of your head, too, you're just thinking to yourself as well. Like, when you were on the Patriots, the whole goal was to eliminate all the distractions that can possibly happen while you're on the team. And don't bring those distractions to the team and in the locker room. And we're just looking, down at the program in North Carolina, and it just feels like there's just distractions 24/7, down there. And there's just no football talk at all. So that's what's kind of silly about it and kind of questioning as well as what happened to eliminate every distraction. But it is what it is, and it's entertainment. It doesn't affect me.
No.
I enjoy, watching the show. And there's one thing that I'm ready for, though, and that's the football season, because I'm interested big time, and I'm invested big time on how the University of North Carolina football program is going to do, and I'm excited to see that.
But it is going to be interesting. I don't know if he's going to quit. Do you think there's any way he would quit? Because it's embarrassing, and again, Gronk, this is real news. I wouldn't do that to you. I like you. I wouldn't screw with you. Do you think there's a way, just knowing him, that he would quit? Because this is all very embarrassing. I mean, would you quit? Do you think he'll quit?
No, Coach loves, the game of football. He loves coaching the game of football big time, loves being around it. So I can't see him signing up and just because there's a speed bump in the way right now of what's going on, I can't see him quitting over that, So I can see him, possibly leaving after the first year, but I can see him putting the first year in to see how it goes on the football fields.
It's probably smart to do this, though, because I can imagine what you would have thought of this going on when you were playing under Bill as a Patriot. But go back to your college days. Can you imagine what it would be like as a player on that team to have your coach in this situation and then trying to take him and everything you're doing seriously while all this other stuff is going on?
It could be a lot, especially at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old. But also at the same time, they get to be coached by Coach Belichick, and he truly does know his football inside and out, from techniques to play scheming to defenses to offenses and all that good stuff. So you truly get to learn from the mastermind of the game of football. And yes, there's tons of speculation what's going on in the media about the program, but I'm telling you, these guys are truly getting coached once Coach Belichick and those players hit the field. It's all about football. And these distractions and whatever the media is saying, it's just the media doing that. He blocks it out when he hits the field, and he's full go. And these guys, these kids get to learn from him. And that's why, like I said, I'm excited for the season because it's chaos. Coach Belichick actually works – terrific and makes miracles happen when there's a lot of chaos. Look at the Patriots situation. Yeah. We won Super Bowls when there was chaos going on throughout the whole year. So,
but he was not.
Maybe he thrives more in it.
Do you think he's a findom? He is. That is someone who loves to be dominated financially. She has bought $8 million in property in the Charlestown area, not Charlestown, Dorchester.
Yeah,
Dorchester area. I mean, he's really opened up his pocketbooks to her. And he used to get on your ass about being in the media. This has got to be incredibly satisfying for you.
I'm happy for Coach Belichick. I'm not satisfied because of everything that's going on.
Have you heard of Findom?
I'm happy for him. And if he's happy, I'm happy. But, it doesn't affect me. It's just entertainment.
No, it doesn't affect me, but it's great. It's fun. Okay, I'll move on. All right, I heard you on something saying that Baltimore was set to draft you in the first round, the draft that you got taken. Is that correct?
Yes. So they had the 25th pick, and then they traded out into the second round because Josh McDaniels and the Denver Broncos came in and traded with them, and then they took Tim Tebow with the 25th pick. And then the Baltimore Ravens were going to select me at the 43rd pick, but then the New England Patriots came in and they traded out with at the time the Oakland Raiders, and they got me right there at the 42nd pick. So I'm thankful for Josh McDaniels, and in the end, I worked with him for about 7 seasons in New England as well, so it all worked out.
Yeah, so he's back, and what do you think of McDaniels working with the young quarterback and him being back in town?
Oh, I think that's a great fit. I was a big advocate of Josh McDaniels going back and being the offensive coordinator as well for the New England Patriots because he's got that experience, with quarterback and how to develop one. He did it with Tom Brady when, Tom was a younger guy, and now Drake May's a younger guy. He knows, the techniques and how to teach defense to these quarterbacks. And I feel like he was the best fit by far to be the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. So they're going to do some damage this year in a good way.
All right. Well, look, you are playing. Are you in Boston? Where do you live?
Yes, I'm actually down in Florida right now. So
Okay.
I mostly live on an airplane, just flying all over the place for gigs and jobs and stuff, and especially during the season when I got to fly out to L.A. for the Fox pregame show. But majority of the time I'm in Tampa, just enjoying the sunshine.
All right. So you stayed in Tampa.
Yes.
Are you? Is Mons Venus still there?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
It's actually right next to one of my restaurants. I have a restaurant, Green Lane, and it's right next to it. And we advocate that if the dancers, if they want to stay skinny, come to Green Lane and come get a salad.
Well, there's another way they could stay skinny too. But if you, or a few ways. But if you do you serve alcohol at Greenland, because they don't at Mons Venus?
No,
Okay,
we
you
don't.
don't. All right.
It's a salad and wrap. A quick service restaurant. There's no alcohol served.
All right.
That's a shame.
Because that was when I'm an older man than you, but when I went to college in Florida, and when I was there, that was a full contact strip club. It was a very exciting place for a young man to go. There was they used to get in trouble, to be honest with you, about all that.
So
you actually here's a fun fact. I have not, ever since I came down to Tampa and played here in 2020, I have not yet gone out past 11:30 p.m. here in Tampa.
Why?
Whoa.
Are you guys surprised by that?
Of course. Why is that? Why is that the case?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, when I got down here playing for the Bucs, I mean, I was in my 30s by then, so going out, wasn't as fascinating to me as when I was 22, 20, 21 years old, going out in the city of Boston. And the recovery time is so much harder, from going out and drinking and then trying to play the game of football. It just was too much. So I just came down here, and I like the daytime. I like the sun. I like going outside, and I grew up a little bit, just a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit.
Well, at least to the point where you're now playing pickleball, which is definitely people of all ages play it, Rob. But when they ask me, because I'm one of maybe two people at the station who actually play, if I was interested in this, I'm like, yeah, I love Rob and love pickleball. Is this something that you do regularly? Like, what am I in for? How good are you?
I'm just all right. I get the job done. I'm not like the superstar out on the court. And one thing that I have an advantage of over everyone else is my length. So you can't really hit the ball by me or shoot it over my head. And it's such a small court. So having that height and the length definitely, play to my advantage. And, that I use it as well to my advantage. So pickleball, it's a fun workout. It's great for all ages. It's nothing, that stresses your body out too much while playing, but you get a good sweat in, and it's a lot of fun too. You feel good after a game of pickleball, and that's why I'm doing pickleball with a purpose with Jimmy Fund. The Gronk Nation Youth Foundation and Jimmy Fund have teamed up, and this is how it works as well. This is going to be May 28th. And at Bosie in Natick, and you sign up to fundraise the team, and as you fundraise, your team will unlock different prizes like playing pickleball versus myself, and then also we have a surprise guest coming as well. And yes, you heard it right, a surprise guest who is going in the Patriots Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Julian, first ballot.
Julian
Patriots
Edelman.
Hall of Fame, and he will
go.
Yes, he will be there as well.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how do you feel physically right now? You mentioned, how your lifestyle has changed. How are you feeling physically?
Yeah, I feel good. You got to take care of myself. If I don't, say it's a late night somewhere, you had a little bit too much to drink, I start feeling all those injuries that, I retained while playing the game of football. But, I like to have a routine every single day. I feel good if I stick to that routine, do my exercise and all that, and I'm good to go. I feel like I could play any sport then, enjoy my life, and not have to deal with any pains or aches from the game of football. And there's a lot of people out there that are hurting from the game of football, but You got to take care of yourself. You got to do the rehab, and you got to get rid of that scar tissue from all the injuries if you want to live a healthy, clean life. And that's what I do.
How long does it? So you have to be actively like working against those injuries, like getting rid of scar tissue and stuff like that. And if you don't, so you're basically still training, but just for another purpose. Still training for another purpose, and I like it as well. It gives me something to do. It gives me goals, to feel good. But it's not as intense though. It's kind of like a laid back type training, and you're not trying to, be the best out there in the world, which makes it a lot less stressful. All right. Well, Rob, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, and get to your text chains, and you can inform them about what happened to Jordan. Thank you for the time, and Hardy, we'll see you out there at the pickleball thing. Everyone get involved. Julian Edelman will be there. Rob, thank you so much for the time. It's like going back in time with you. Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thanks for you, Gronk.
Rob Gronkowski. There you go. And no one stepped in. No one, strangely enough, no PR people. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
the way it is. We have to win. We have to win. We have to do what it takes to win, and we have to put ourselves in position to do that. And it's going to be a tall task, but we're ready for it, and there's no better people I'd rather do it with than the guys in the locker room and our staff.
Last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves evened up their second-round playoff series with Golden State at a game apiece. Carried a 117-93 win at Target Center. Red Sox have back-to-back wins. They beat Texas at Fenway Park yesterday 5-0. Brian Bayo and 3 relievers combined at a 5-hit shutout. Sox will be in Kansas City tonight. Rafael Devers homered and drove in a pair of runs yesterday, and then after the game told the media Craig Breslow had asked him about playing first base, and he told him he wouldn't do it after switching from third base to become a full-time DH this season. And the Hockey World Championships begin in about an hour in both Sweden and Denmark. David Pastrnak is playing for the defending champion Czech team. Bruins goaltender Jeremy Swayman is playing for the U.S. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the company that finishes every job strong. If your home or business has a plumbing, HVAC, electrical, or drain issue that can't wait, you need to call 128 now at 888-CALL-128. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
You said you wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
The second update is that Bill Belichick's family is extraordinarily concerned about what has transpired. One Belichick family source told me, quote, there is deep worry for how detrimental Jordan can be.
What he just said, the family is obviously concerned. I mean, I knew that. But the North Carolina has banned Jordan Hudson from the football facilities, and that Bill Belichick is the highest paid public employee in North Carolina, which is not ridiculous. I mean, a lot of football coaches are for public universities. But he's making $10 million a year. And Jordan is such a good publicist and so good for his career that she got herself banned from his place of work. His creative muse was so creative, she wrote a story that completely embarrassed him. And now the school, and for North Carolina to put their foot down against Bill. Yeah. So this whole notion of like Bill's in control of the football operation, well, that's gone. Bill's not in control of the football operation. Carolina put their foot down. She's not allowed in here anymore. Your girlfriend, your muse, your assistant, your partner, the real estate mogul that you have operating and using all your money, she's gone. So now he's not even in control of the football operation. I want to hear someone defend him. And I want to hear someone who's not enjoying this, aside from the family.
For a school, this is
not to blame for this.
For a school, this is relatively quick, too. Usually it goes through channels, and it takes months to kind of come to a decision. We just barely out of spring practice. I mean, this just happened.
Well, I think you could fire him now. The pressure he's under is that he could be fired and that there would be, like, the public wouldn't freak out, right? Like, North Carolina football fans, I don't think you could make the argument, like, if we tried to ban her and he just said no, like, what are we supposed to do? He's being obstinate, like he's just not listening to us, so we had to fire him.
And now Bill has to face the avalanche of questions about this. This is great.
Well, she'll be there if they're off site, and then she can step in and interrupt them. All right. Be Real, who used to be our producer, says, I haven't seen you this happy since Crash came in with those glow-in-the-dark teeth. It is...
the Crash veneers.
Because Nick is making a video of Rob Gronkowski talking about it, and next I want him to make a video of Hardy reading the news, and I want to see my face.
Well, I think that video's already...
That's already up.
That's already up.
Posted.
Baby.
Oh, that's up on Instagram?
That's up.
All right, well, let's get this Gronkowski thing up.
I think it's on X at the moment. I don't know if it's on Instagram yet.
That's fine. All right, Andrew Callahan from the Boston Herald is joining us. And, Andrew, you were scheduled to join us because you and the Herald, you write about the Celtics. You write about everything.
Yes, when duty calls, I'm in.
Yeah, so you were all over that Belichick, or the, I'm sorry, I can't.
Tatum.
You were all over the Tatum thing.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that if there's time, because there's real matters at hand. The Celtics, the Schmeltics. I mean, listen.
They don't play till tomorrow.
Have you heard the news that Jordan Hudson, before now, have you heard that she has been banned from the UNC facility?
Yes, I have.
Okay. What do you think, having someone who covered Bill for all those years, what do you think the reaction in his camp is? His dwindling camp. What do you think that is?
Well, first of all, Fred, I feel like I owe you this because I texted this to Wallach 2 weeks ago. I'm worried. I'm team anxious. Where you've been at the front of the car, the opposite of whatever hype train would be. I'm there. This has been concerning to me. What is his reaction? I think Bill just might move practice down the street to Chapel Hill High. I don't know. Like,
no, you're kidding, but I'm serious. Like, this is a fairly this is what they did to Guerrero with Brady.
Right. Yeah.
But Brady was a player. Like, Bill is one thing Bill has always been given, everyone's excuse for him is, and Wetzel wrote a column, Dan Wetzel for ESPN. Bill thrives in chaos. When it comes down to football, he's in control. Well, you can get that narrative off of this now, too. This is unprecedented in his career. Maybe it happened in Cleveland, but this certainly in the last 20 years hasn't happened to Belichick.
No, and I'd say the interesting part about this, too, is the powers that be above him. Because when you remember that he was hired, UNC ran two different coaching searches. One was to their AD, Bubba Cunningham, who got to introduce him at the press conference, despite being the last guy that he reported to. And then you had board members who were all in on this and saw Belichick as being their Dion Sanders. So if they've turned on him, as has the chancellor, whom Belichick actually reports to, then he's kind of SOL here. I don't know that that's the case, but someone obviously did. And he started this whole journey down there without the AD really in his corner. So he might be kind of cornered in a way. You talk about a guy who's never in a situation like he is now. That's how I look at this. Who made this decision, and does it have any allies left before they've even started summer practices?
Do you think that, like, he'll fight back? Like, do you think because
Bill's tenure here in New England, he will sacrifice virtually anything at the altar of winning. And you saw this with the end of Brady's career. You saw this with Matt Patricia and his close confidant, did every single thing he did, fired him at the end of that 2022 season. Sometimes it's the rules, sometimes it's his players, whatever it'll be. This man wants to win. I said this on my podcast within the last month or so. I think they might even be headed for a split. Like, this is the end for him. I understand we've seen everything that indicates she's got her claws really deep into Bill. And this stretches back to 2021, as we all know, in that lovely plane ride. But he wants to win. He needs football. And if this comes to a point where even his family members, who we know double as his coaches and have for years, come and say, this is no good, as obstinate and stubborn and controlling as he is, football is the thing he will do anything else for. And I think it's going to come to that. I don't think she's going to win there.
Oh, she's not going to take that well at all.
Well, if he ends it, Hachi Machi.
Oh, boy.
Jordan, I'll give you a week. I'll leave. You can do the show yourself. If you just talk about, if you talk about anything personal with him, you have an open forum to do whatever you want. You can plug whatever you want. Any dumb business here is, you can do anything. And you can put it up on all your socials. You have a free microphone, and I will follow. If you can give me the questions beforehand, and if I agree to them, we can follow your script. As long as you agree about what happened before he was on the ring cam. I just want to know about the night before the ring cam video. Andrew, is this personally satisfying for you, for someone who is talked down to by Belichick for so many years?
No. 12 can tell you the text I sent him back when he informed me we would be talking about this instead of the Celtics, and it was not a happy text.
Why? Why aren't you enjoying it? Do you hate yourself?
No, I just wash my hands of Bill, and not in a way of, like, get out of here. This is just not the stuff that I seek out. Like, I feel like everything I've learned about Bill and Jordan has been almost against my will. I said this before, last time we talked about this, I'm much more of a live and let live kind of guy. But as the CBS interview came out, I'm watching that going, okay, when he was the head coach of the Patriots for 24 years, the best thing Belichick did was coach football, obviously. Number two was be his own PR director and control the messaging. And when that blew up in his face, it was like watching him draw up a game plan that we all knew was dog bleep. Like that to me is the jarring thing. So I would be worried about Bill if I had the time or wanted to spend the energy worrying about him. But this has gone further and worse in a way that I never expected. But I just don't take time out of my day to think about it.
Okay, I'll pick up the time of day that you're not thinking about it to think about it.
That's a friend. You're a pal.
Because it's all I think about. And
I know.
I would avoid this show because it's all I want to talk about. Go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say, I think a lot of the Patriot beat writers, and Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, we're like, oh, thank God Bill's out of my life. I don't have to worry about him. I don't have to deal with him. I don't have to talk about him. And now he's back, and you have to deal with him.
No, I mean, well, John, the Bill answer would be, I can't speak for them. I can only speak for myself. I think that's honestly true. I would suspect that there are some of them who probably do feel that way. Others, I think, appreciate the fascination and the man and the football brilliance that we get to cover for years and years and years. I mean, you can ask them when they go on the show. For me, again, it's just now like 2 years removed. Like, that's how I look at this. I was never indignant or ever upset at Bill. I knew what I was getting into. Like, if the press conferences bothered me, you would have found me like on a different beat or in a straitjacket somewhere. And that didn't happen. I covered him all the way to the end. We did some great inside reporting with Karen and Doug. And so now it's just like he's out of my life and I'm moving on. We're on to Mike Vrabel.
Maybe you are.
I know, Fred.
All right.
Do you talk about this at home?
People come up to me on the street and talk about it. I've never had anything I've talked about on the radio. I've had people come up to me in locker room. I've had people come up to me on the street. I've had girls DM me. I have everything under the sun happening with this. It's been quite a wonderful ride for me. I finally feel like I'm on the same team as everyone. You might want to get on this. You want to sell some copies of the Herald. You might want this to be your next column, my friend. I got news for you.
Well, supposedly my last Celtics column got me on the show, but I don't know. I told you, Fred, though, I'm aligned with you in that I don't think this is good for Bill.
Well,
and I'm not alarmed, but close to it. So I'm there with you.
All right. There you go. Did you know that I got a text from a guy I know that said Stuck on You by Failure was played at the beginning of this segment.
Wow. Whoever that guy is, kudos. Good ears.
It's a guy from the Sinclair that knew about it. So I said
right on.
it was Josh from the
Nice.
Sinclair.
Thank you, Josh. Love your club.
All right. Look, very quickly, get to Tatum. Get it out of your system. Do you think Tatum is hurting himself? What do you feel about his performance so far, and what that means for the way that the league looks at him, the way that the fans should look at him? What do you think?
It just leaves me aghast. Like, we watched him destroy, granted, a bad Magic team or an okay Magic team last series, but score over 30 points per game. Here, the story of this series is the two stars. You know, the shooting woes aside, which have happened in the Celtics before. Where is Jason Tatum? Because I know where Jalen Brunson is at the end of the game. He's making the free throws. He's hitting the go-ahead shots. He's carrying his team to upsets no one saw coming going into this series. The better of the two stars, Jason Tatum, is nowhere to be found, puking up those layups without a plan, step-back threes. And to me, that immediate kind of contrast speaks to just what the hell is going on with a top-5 player. So writing that column, yeah, we can talk about, is it bad luck? Are they in a slump? Is it this and that with the threes? Like, they're missing shots. You lose basketball games when you miss shots, and a lot of them have been open. That's not as interesting to me. The interesting thing to me is this guy, who does not yet have a capital M moment, game-winning shot, is being outworked and outclassed by a guy, Jalen Brunson, who's in the same tier. He's in the same neighborhood. But right now is leaving Tatum far and away, and in doing so, leaving his team behind. So Jason Tatum is made of what typically champions are made of. And there's toughness and there's a great player. He's got to show it, because the fact that he hasn't to date, in my opinion, as I wrote for the Herald, is why they're down 0-2. And I think it's getting way less conversation than it deserves.
Well, it's a bad playoff series for him as a whole. Not only this playoff series he's playing in, but all the other ones, because you had Halliburton and Brunson, destroy teams, and they're not in the same.
Shots.
They're not in the same class as him. But when you're talking about, LeBron and Steph and all these guys retiring, who's going to be the next up? You are correct that these are the games that you need to perform in. And it also sucks for him that he's doing it against the Knicks, because obviously the Knicks garner more attention than any other team. I would argue that this series now has as much attention, if probably more attention, than the finals did last year. I think that that's at least a 50-50 proposition, that more people are going to be interested, not maybe watch, but be interested in the result of that Game 3 on Saturday than we're really interested in the NBA Finals last year, because that seemed like a foregone conclusion before it even started.
I think that's probably fair. Not to mention the whole New York element. And, there's not a lot of Knicks Celtics history, but there's enough there for people to talk themselves into it. And not to mention, Jason Tatum didn't win MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals last year. He didn't win Finals MVP, and he still belongs in this, great conversation. It's just like, hey, man, it's not just the shooting that's bringing you down. It's the decision-making. It's the defensive mistakes. Where are you? They need him more than ever. Jaylen Brown hasn't played well. He's at least hurt. Porzingis is sick. Okay. This is when you need your top 5 players to be top 5 players. He's been bottom 5 in the series, and it's just mind-boggling. But yeah, Saturday 3:30 Madison Square Garden is going to be unbelievable, I think.
Right. And now that being said, quickly, just who do you like in the series?
I think you have to go Knicks at this point, because I think the Celtics are just running out of bodies here. And I'll say this too. If the Celtics do come back and win, we're going to think about that Heat series that they did not complete in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would have been a bigger deal coming down from 3-0. And there's still plenty of shot here. But this is a 50-50 coin flip. And give me the team that doesn't have to win 4 games in 5 days. I think the Celtics are going to run out of gas here, and they're going to lose this.
All right. Interesting, Andrew. Your passion on Tatum and your lack of interest in Belichick is concerning of your mental health. But we move on. All right. Thank you, Andrew. Everyone read the Boston Herald. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. Happy Friday.
All right. There you go. I love Andrew, but his insistence on his not liking this Belichick story is coming off at best disingenuous.
It's not. There's no X's and O's in it, man.
If you get pantsed every time you go in and just deign to ask him a question for 2 decades or a decade, how can you not enjoy this? How can you not enjoy this guy thoroughly falling
Take a gander
on
at
his face
Breer's phone
and embarrassing himself?
If you don't think anybody in the media is enjoying it, take a gander at Breer's phone.
Right.
Everyone under the sun's getting talking to this guy about it. All right, look, the coaches, players, everybody, they're all having a good time. All right, look, this is because he's a bully and a dick. And that's the thing, is that if you show no humanity and no human side, and you are a dick to everyone, your players, the media, everyone, and you act like you're intellectually superior and really just a superior human being, when you fall, that's of great delight to people.
And it doesn't even have to be a fall. When you engage in a personal relationship with somebody that goes horribly wrong and off the rails, people can say, yeah, because you don't know how to deal with people, and this is more evidence of it right here.
But if he did an interview and he's like, look, man, this is what happened. I got caught up in this whole thing. I kind of lost my head. Then you would go, oh, wow. Wow.
That's the best
Look at
thing.
that. But he'll never do it, because that's what I respect in someone. If you could, everyone fails and everyone makes mistakes, and we all do stupid crap, and we all do stuff that we have guilt and shame over. All of that stuff is true. It makes us humans. It's the ability to go, all right, guys, like, look, like I did it. Like, I take responsibility for it. Here's what happened. Then people root for you. I mean, it happens all the time.
All of this could have been solved in about 8 minutes if he had sat down in front of a camera.
If he just said, you know what? This looks bad.
Show humility.
Here's what's going
once
on
in your life.
Or
That's
just
it.
here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. I'm human like you. I fell into this thing. What do you want out of me? All right, there you go. All right, we will be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
the email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
All right, give me 1 second here. How's Nick coming with that Gronk video?
He just put it out on Instagram.
With Gronkowski talking?
No, not with
No. I want the one with Gronkowski.
Oh, okay.
I don't want him leaving here without that video done.
Okay.
Video is up. What did you say, Nick? Video's up on YouTube.
Okay, the Gronk. We need that up on Instagram before you leave today, if you could, Nicholas.
Did you hear that, Nick?
I know that you have.
He says yes.
Your afternoon drinks to get to.
No, that's right. He enjoys. He enjoys a nice quaff.
Where's Beaton, too? I got some bad news for Beaton.
I don't think hang on.
Really?
I got to find this copy.
I know I left it for you.
You did.
Yeah.
I think I might have crumpled
What's
it up
wrong
in my
with Beaton?
excitement.
Beaton is the unofficial producer of the Sports Hub Golf Club.
Oh.
And he's on a getaway day. Beaton's on vacation next week.
Oh, he is.
And he's got some work to do before he leaves today, which I failed to tell him about yesterday. But he's not even in the room. Did he leave already?
Yeah, he might have gotten away already.
Oh, no, I see him. He's coming back. He was doing
Beaton,
something
bad
else.
news, kid. You think you're out of here at 10:01 today? Not happening.
Fred, it's okay. I'll get you new one. We'll do it in the next
Man.
segment.
What do you have to do? What does he have to do?
We want to do a plug for
I
Who's
didn't
Your
throw
Caddy,
away the
but we lost the copy.
I can get on the web and get it.
I've got it right here.
The world. Oh, you have it. Okay. All right. Well, I was going through the trash like an animal. John
Like me.
saves all his crumpled papers, obviously, for nesting purposes. So that was a mess. I had to go through all that stuff. All right. The Who's Your Caddy Classic. I was so excited, I thought I made a mistake. The Who's Your Caddy Classic, our big event, our golf event, foursomes for it, will go on sale Monday morning at 10 a.m. Visit 985thesportshub.com. It will be Monday, June 9th at Brook Meadow Country Club in Canton. 8 a.m. shotgun start. $900 all it is per foursome. It includes 18 holes of golf cart prizing, and a post-round lunch. There's a bunch of raffles and things of that nature. Felger and Maz will be there. Proceeds will benefit the Seven Juice Foundation. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that, but it's Joe and Brown's great foundation. Thank you to Pin Golf, Yale Appliance, Northern Spy Restaurant, Alamo Draft House, Theater, Woods Hill, Pier 4 Restaurant, Brico Restaurante, the Boston Red Sox, the New England Revolution, and Brook Meadow Country Club. Thank you to all of them for making this possible. It's a very exciting day as Jordan Hudson has been banned from all North Carolina football facilities. Lindsay, hello.
Hi there. How's it going?
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi. I just have a little bit of a hot take about this whole Bill Belichick and Jordan thing.
Give it to me,
I have
darling.
5 words. Let your freak flag fly, all right? Let it go. You don't yuck somebody's yum. If he's into that and she's into that, why does anybody care?
Into what, though, Lindsay? Into what?
He's into being a findom. He's into being
okay.
financially dominated. If he wants to send her $8 million of real estate, and he's turned on by that, and so is she, why are we even making a story? I
A
don't
story?
get
Well,
how
no.
you get turned on.
There's difference, Lindsay. There's
Why?
making it a story, which is because it's funny. And then, so you're saying North Carolina shouldn't care about it because I, as a human being who has been in the wake of Belichick's nonsense for all these years and had seen the avatar of him drinking orange juice thrown in my face constantly, telling me what a prick I am enjoying it thoroughly. Now, I have no control of the situation, but can I not enjoy it from afar, Lindsay?
No, you absolutely can, but to have somebody's work affected by it, like he
There
can't
you
help
go.
that it's in the publicity. But
Well,
Carolina
yes, well-
should back off. What you do in the privacy of your own home, or even first off, Jordan needs PR training. We know that.
Well, she's
Okay,
his
like-
PR person.
That's the whole point. Is
Yeah,
is
that's
that
just-
this is not the privacy of their own
He's
home.
not a real
she's
PR
showing up.
person.
No, but she's showing up on interview sets and interrupting and disrupting the workplace. That's why
fairness-
she's banned.
How do we know that's also not Belichick's kink? Maybe he has an embarrassment kink. Like, we don't know.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
let
That's
him be
fantastic.
great.
Good call.
Look, first of all, I like you. I like that you called, and I think that you're probably a lot of fun, and you seem to have a
I
good
am.
sort of sense of humor. But listen, and I like that you admit
thought
that
she was being
he might
serious.
very well might be a findom. But if he is, isn't that funny? Can't we? Like, I laugh at the foot fetish. Can't we just think it's funny? If I don't think it's wrong, I think it's funny. And would it be funny if like some random billionaire was doing it? Who cares? But it's Bill Belichick. It's very funny to me. I have to.
It is in one because it's Bill, and he's been such a it is funny. But when I hear stories about, oh well, he's not going to get a contract, $11 million,
I don't care about that.
What he can't, what you're into. We didn't hear about it the entire Patriots at all.
No,
we didn't hear about it for 20 years.
Jordan
So now
managed to
that
get it
he's
out
retired-
there. Yeah, she managed to get it out there quick. All right, thank you,
Yeah.
Lucy. Appreciate it.
Findom.
Well, we're
Remember,
learning
he would
so
be a
much.
fin
She went
sub.
right there,
She
man.
would be the fin dom. He would be the fin sub.
Okay.
Right.
Oh.
Make sure we get the words right
Well,
for
listen,
the kink community.
You don't. I would think you're a fin sub if I didn't know you had no money. Then I would think I'd be like, what are you giving away? Cans.
Is he a power sub?
But Belichick.
I don't. Now we're getting into term. I'm interested, but I don't know what a power.
I don't know.
sub
I don't
is.
know if there's I get where you're
Like a
going. with
power
that,
bottom?
Harvey. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, that's
like
a
power
physical
sub.
movement.
Well, maybe he is though, because
You're
those are
creating
big.
the
Those are
friction.
big amounts of money that he is turning over to her.
One
Show
would
me.
be like this. And the other one would be
Oh, okay.
I learned that from Always Sunny. They had in the strip club scene, one of the great scenes in television history, where they're talking to the gay guy, and then they have the conversation about power bottoms. They turn around and he's gone. He's got up and left. Is it about friction? Well, I'll tell you, Dennis. It's all about friction. Oh, well, listen. I couldn't. I got to admit, I'm having the time of my life here. I really am. I hope everyone's enjoying it as much as I am. If you're not, I don't know what to tell you.
The talk in the control room is: will this impact the weekend? Because as we know, Jordan is running for Miss Maine. I don't know beauty pageants enough to know, but the Miss Maine beauty pageant that she's participating in takes place this weekend.
You think she'll duck it now that the story has broken?
Oh,
She
yeah,
shouldn't.
John. Oh, yeah, John, certainly. She seems to be. Yesterday, she
She's
was
painfully aware of all of this.
She was on Twitter yesterday retweeting stuff that people said to support her. I mean, she's a kid. I mean, if you think about it, she's just a kid. Every kid's obsessed with what people think about them online. Yeah. It's hard not to be. It's a shame and it's a problem, but it's true. Her brain's not fully developed. It's not fully developed until you're 25. If the timeline meets up, you met her when she was 19. She was going to see a 60-year-old guy maybe, and I don't know how old she was when she met him. But that's a whole thing that
That's another story. Yeah.
You could investigate, and that's a problem that she's a victim of if any of that's happening. That doesn't involve Bill. But, I mean, she's a child. I mean, she's a kid. I mean, she's an adult, but, I mean, she's of the era of social media, and she's obviously obsessed with it as your children are, as my children are. You know, my daughter, to my knowledge, doesn't have a public social media account. My son does, but it's for baseball. They tell him to. But, you know, she's a kid. She's a 24-year-old. She's obsessed with the internet. Jesus Christ, she's 5 years old, younger than Kendra. And Kendra's obsessed with the internet. She's almost 30.
Just to let everyone know, as they get ready for their weekend, the preliminaries for Miss Maine will take place tomorrow night at 7 p.m., and then the finals at the coveted, highly rated 1 p.m. Sunday afternoon time slot. So the finals Sunday at 1 p.m.
Hey, go up to Portland and check that out.
They didn't want to go up against the Celtics. Now, have we figured out how to watch this thing? Because the only thing we found, it was $30, which I'll pay.
I'm trying.
I'm willing to pay.
I need to reactivate my Tubi account.
Exactly.
It's on some website you found, right?
Well, Ryan found it. It's called like pageantry.com or
Right.
something. And I think it's a subscription.
He already had a subscription. That's why he found it so quickly.
Like if your kids play baseball, you know, Game Changer, like it's like a live app that you can like track things.
Yeah.
It seems like it's that for pageants.
So what if we have? So Nick, are you able to record that this
leave
weekend?
Nicholas
'Cause-
alone to
well,
make
no,
this video.
Well, Nick,
let him
he's
make
working on, but he's going to be the one to do it this week because we don't have Ryan.
Don't talk directly to him. Just right now, let him work on the video.
Okay, here we go. Preliminary competition. The live stream of the Miss Maine USA and Teen USA preliminary competition scheduled. Pageants Live or pageantvision.tv.
Of course.
It's a good website.
Nick's looking at me like I'm crazy. I want him focused on the video.
I would say
he does a great job. I want him to make sure.
Well, then
he
when he's
finishes.
done with the video, perhaps you coordinate with him.
I can text him. I have his phone number.
Great. Yes.
Adam.
and
It
we
doesn't
can
have
get
to
it
be done
recorded.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm aware that we want to record this. Now you're distracting him, and he can't be more distracted.
Well, Jim Louth's been talking his ear off for the last 10 minutes.
Jesus Christ, about what?
Videos.
All right, well, let him make one. Are you all out of your mind? You got a rabbit in there, and you're making sudden movements all around. It's going to hop away. In fact, you guys should all leave the room and just let him be.
I don't think I can. So.
Turn off. You probably can't, but turn off all the lights. Make no sudden movements. Let the boy be. He does a great job, but focusing is an issue for him. So let's get that out of the way. All right, very good. Let's wrap this whole thing up in a few minutes. Here are the headlines.
East.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Score to the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack.
Out at our house yesterday, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out about it while I was on the golf course, like on the seventh hole. My son called me. I'm like, "What do you? It's daylight out. You're fine. You go ahead. Work through it." And multiple phone calls and texts wanting to know about the generator. I'm like, "Don't touch it. Light a candle, read a book, do something. I'll get there when I get there." When it was all said and done, though, and I left, I said, "Look, power's still out. By the time I get home, get the generator going, all this stuff, you're going to be starving. How about I just bring dinner on the way home?" And it was just me and him having dinner together last night. And what do you want? McDonald's. Kid still likes McDonald's. I'm always amazed when I stop through a McDonald's drive-thru and they tell me what the total is for 2 meals.
Yeah.
It's impressive what they're getting for that.
At least you have drive-thrus. They don't have those in New
Right. Which leads us to this story. Every state's Big Mac price, from the best bargains to the biggest splurges.
All right, if we could put that on hold,
Sure.
I would like to. We have a pressing matter. David, go ahead. You're a former beauty pageant judge.
Hey. Well, I did it once, and I'll tell you the girl who won it. I did it for Miss USA for Rhode Island, and the girl who won, her name was Janet Sutton, and I can tell you, that girl, Jordan, is making the finals because teams. So what happens is, as you're doing that, you're rating the girls. I believe it's on 1 to 10, or I think it's 1 to 10 or 1 to 5.
Yeah, it's very respectful.
So you have somebody that like, hey, this girl's never gonna look good in say the bathing suit because there's no talent.
Right.
It's just
right.
So
I understand. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the next thing they do is.
All right. It was so uninteresting. Here's the thing: is that if I'm Miss Maine, yeah, she's in the finals. You can't have her win it because that's embarrassing. But of course, I put her in the finals. What's the finals? 4 girls? Yeah, you got to. I would do that. I do it just for my own entertainment. I mean, there's no way she's winning. That can't happen. Because Maine can't let that happen. They don't want that on there. Let's be honest. I mean, if you're a judge and you live in Maine, that's not happening. But I certainly would want her on to the finals just to get some attention to the pageant. I didn't even know they still did it, which I don't think is. I'm unique in that. I bet you guys didn't know they were still doing
used to be a big thing. You would sit.
It was
and
on national television.
You would watch Miss America. You would watch Miss Universe.
Well, remember when the girl was in Penthouse naked, the Miss America, the first African American Miss America?
No, she was an actress. She sung too. What the hell was her? She
and you know how
married to Rick Fox.
And you know how that story's on the top of my head is because I listened to that podcast about the Tracy Lord stuff that one time in the Valley. And the reason the Tracy Lords thing that she was under 18 when she was doing porn came out is because she was in that issue. Tracy Lords was in that Vanessa Williams issue. So, like, if you weren't around then, it was in the 80s. Like, Vanessa Williams was Miss USA or Miss America or something. And they found nude photos of her, and Penthouse put them up in an issue. And it was like a scandal. How could Miss America be naked? Like, how could we allow this to happen? And so it was a big deal. I mean, I don't think I ever watched it, but it was a big deal. But now I don't know why you'd want it. Now, some of the women on the webpage are very beautiful. Some not so, but some are, no one's like ugly, but there are some beautiful, beautiful women. And the beautiful women, I've been told, are from these like nowhere towns. I can only imagine what their life is like if they're truly living there. If you're like a 9 in some nowhere town in Maine, are you basically just everyone just does everything for you? Like what? Like what's the point? Like what do you have to do if you're that hot and you're in that small a town? I mean, you moved to Boston, your life has got to be easy.
Enjoy your weekend.
You moved to L.A., you're just one of the crowd.
Oh yeah.
You stick around here, you're doing okay. Yeah, it's hot in here, baby, because I'm all revved up. We didn't even get to Adam's weekend.
Oh,
that's a shame.
Oh,
Is
so much
Nick done
going
with that
on.
video?
Yeah, he's gonna have it done before he leaves. He's gonna do another one when he gets home. He's
Yeah, but
shedding wood in
I
here.
don't want this done when he gets home. I want this done before he gets home, if I could be so bold. It's in your best interest.
Oh, yeah.
It's his best interest. I'm
No,
not
Nick,
being...
Nick,
This
Nick.
isn't something for myself. This is something that benefits actually them more than me.
And the entire show.
Yeah, and the entire show. But there, we have these metrics and everything that we have to hit, and there's a chance this could make you hit your metrics lickety-split if you play it right, Nicholas. But I observed him for a while in there.
Mm.
No, Nick.
And it's incredibly frustrating to watch him because he's talking to Jim.
The rabbit analogy.
He's looking out the window.
Yeah, he's
the rabbit analogy is very good.
He's twisting around in his chair. He's fiddling
Why
his
do you
thumbs.
tolerate him?
I love Nick, and he does a great job on the videos, and he's a hard worker.
So is my garbage man.
Well, Nick's not a garbage man. Nick is an employee of the show. I love Nick. Nick isn't going anywhere.
We tried to trade you Louth for Adolfo, and you guys declined that one day.
Listen, at the time it made sense. At the time it made sense. All right, very good. That'll do it for us. Everyone enjoy your weekend in the